Hello. You are watching or listening to or whatevs the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode
122.
Yeah, episode 122.
Yes.
I'm here tonight with Philip Proctor.
What's up?
Ooh,
Alexis Schlegel.
Hey, what's going on, Dan? Got to turn the volume down. What's
Yeah.
going on, everybody?
And Kyle Wagner.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And hello Kyle. We have a newcomer to the podcast tonight too. We have Phil.
What's up, everybody?
Dude, what's
Yeah.
up, Phil?
Yeah, man.
Good.
So the guys want us to do like a brief introduction on
Keep
you.
it brief, very brief.
But I don't know. So what brings you here? What made you want to come onto the podcast?
I guess we established that I'm politically agnostic, and I guess I've been following the podcast for a while now. And once I found out how close we record and stuff, it was I saw that you added me, and you just said hi, and you asked if I come on. So I said that sounds great.
Sweet. So tonight, what were we gonna?
Dude, what are we getting into, Kyle?
Yeah.
What got going on over there?
Yeah.
The first thing is the ceasefire, Baltimore
This is
ceasefire.
crazy. This is ridiculous.
It's been a
So
great
is
success. Oh, wait.
Has it been now?
No.
Has it?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh no, Phil, tell us about it, man. So, if those that aren't aware, basically they did a form of, I guess, political activism, or I don't even know who sponsored it, but basically in Baltimore City, they're trying to achieve 48-hour ceasefire, where basically the weekend they're attempting that there's no murders, but.
And people were murdered this weekend.
Oof. When did that happen? Because I heard they got through Friday.
Friday night. What? I must have been last night then.
Oof. Yeah, because today's Sunday, so it had to be. Yeah, because as of Friday, the big.
I'm sure the organizers mean well, but it's like
Right.
It's really the psychology. That's for them, really. It doesn't
Right.
stop violence.
Exactly. It was basically kind of like a feel-good campaign here in Baltimore. Because what are the stats up to right now, Kyle? We're there's
It's over 200.
on pace. We're on pace. There's basically a murder every day.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe more than that.
basically Baltimore's murder rate, if it's 350, 360, that's like a murder a day, and it's that's around what we tend to pace. For a while, we were under 300. I might have even gotten under 200 for a couple years there, but it's jumped back up. So. We have a lot of murders, and then that's just murders. That doesn't count all the shootings, non-fatal shootings. But there's well over 1,000 of those.
I think a lot of people fail to let's put this in perspective. Okay, we're over 200, and we're in August. Mind you, there's some of the best hospitals within Baltimore City. You know what I mean?
With shock trauma.
So
the numbers would be worse.
The numbers would be far fucking worse.
Yeah,
would be,
without a doubt.
And then I'm not trying to be
point.
crass, but just the fact, just trying to put things in perspective, really a feel good campaign. There's this one page, this one group I belong to. It's called Baltimore City Voters, and a lot of times I go on there and I hold back. I don't try to comment, because if I do comment, I'd just be a troll. Because it's bad, because it's just a bunch of statists and a bunch of just political neophytes. They're just so immature, and and it's just pathetic. And they posted this. We'll get into the next thing that I stumbled across in this debate, not even debate group. It's just a group page in Baltimore City. But I saw the ceasefire, and I'm really a feel good campaign.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden gangs and the drug violence, the war on the failed war on drugs, and the social economic problems are just gonna cease to exist for an entire weekend.
They march down the street,
and everybody's gonna join hands, and then there's
Kumbaya,
gonna be, and then drink a Pepsi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Basically,
everything's gonna be fucking great.
They basically just asked nicely, please don't shoot other people
don't-
this weekend. And of course,
Hey.
Yo,
I know that motherfucker owes you a lot of money.
Yeah.
But don't.
I know he
Please.
robbed you, but don't enact
right,
vengeance.
right.
Exact vengeance.
Exactly.
This.
That guy snitched.
This
He ratted
weekend.
you out. But please, just not this weekend.
Save it till
48
Monday.
hours.
This weekend.
Yeah.
It's cool. no murders this weekend. Next weekend, double the stats. You know, like double the like.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, what is the point? It just seems so dumb. Let's just not murder for one weekend.
And then what's funny though is that
baby steps.
Tell, like it's
baby steps.
It's hard to believe it didn't work.
Right. Shocker. I mean, it sounds like we're being really crass. I mean, we are.
Kyle, why do you suppose it didn't work? Do you feel like there wasn't enough like statism involved?
You know, it's probably a lack of publicity. I think that a lot of the gangbangers in Baltimore probably weren't, you know,
do you think
checking
there was more
watching the local news
and just didn't get the message. You know, I think.
But like if Hogan was like railing it through,
I mean. I don't know. I didn't even hear about it until I heard that it didn't work. So I didn't get the memo either, personally.
Oh.
Well, a few of my coworkers were talking about it on Facebook, and I just knew it wasn't going to last. So,
yeah. I mean, I did my part. I didn't shoot anybody this weekend.
Okay, well that's good to know, Kyle.
Yeah,
that's great. So,
Kyle, you didn't aggress upon anybody this weekend.
No, not this weekend.
All right.
Dude,
you didn't violate anybody's nap.
I pushed my vengeances off till next weekend.
You didn't violate the nap.
Yeah.
But no, it's
blood feuds on hold.
It's fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And then and this has been kind of garnering national attention here in Baltimore. But now all of a sudden you have all these city council members that are putting forth all these stupid fucking ideas.
That's the who wants camera time because they want the mayor's job.
They want to get tough. Exactly. It's all fucking bullshit. And it's like, let's look at the real issue. Not once did they ever mention like maybe the failed war on drugs. I don't know. Maybe it's not working out so well. Maybe it's everybody. They just think they're one law away, or more police on the streets, or more getting tough on crime tactics, or more violation, or more confiscation of guns.
Yeah,
and it's getting to the point where it's like, wait. I mean, people obviously are seeing through the bullshit. I mean, when you're that fucking desperate, like that's some fourth quarter Hail Mary bullshit. Like ceasefire weekend. Like, you know,
it's a big step for people to accept legalization of drugs and like ending the war on drugs. Definitely. And a lot of them have never even heard that solution.
And I think
it's never occurred to them that that's on the table as an option.
Amongst all this bullshit, and that's the thing where I don't want to. I mean, I kind of just. I'm a part of this group, Baltimore City Voters, and I don't want to really I don't comment. The few times I do, I'm usually troll, but I don't want to be that guy. But I just kind of want to know where their head's at.
Yeah. And
when you have issues like this is an opportunity to maybe reach out to people to kind of like get to the root cause, like strike the root, you know, get to the root cause of the problem. Like really, it's not, we're not one more law away. We're not, one more cop on the street to solve this problem, or, just throw more money into the money pit that is, government education, and it's going to magically solve this problem. Or
one more Band-Aid will stop that arterial bleeding.
Exactly. There's some serious, and I think we're getting closer to it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think libertarians have done a poor job of reaching out and getting into the cities, running for office in the cities, and getting our platform across to people. I mean, we have to run candidates for these offices, and they have to be expressing our platform and saying we want to get rid of the war on drugs. This is what's wrong with the school system. This is what's wrong with the infrastructure. So you have to become an alternative for people, and we've basically just conceded the cities to the Democrats. Republicans a lot of times don't even run a candidate, or if they do, they just know he's going to lose. But it's like, we got to be in there. We got to be fighting to try to, get our message out into the cities.
Dude, for real, because you see it in the most economically, in neighborhoods that are the most economically depressed. You see that entrepreneurship. That people just look. They basically are like, man, we've been fucked for years, decades.
Oh, in the welfare state too.
Yeah.
I mean,
so a lot of times they realize there's people that see through the bullshit and are like, better off doing it myself. Fuck it, I'm gonna sell water here on the corner, or I'm gonna open up this business. I don't give a fuck about licensing. Or
they're very enterprising with the you go to a game and there's guys on the corner selling bottles of water for $1, T-shirts, hats, all that stuff.
Dude, I was in I think it was 2 Sundays ago. I was at the Baltimore the big farmers market Sunday mornings. You ever go?
Yeah,
the big one. That's fucking sick, dude. underneath the
JFXer.
yeah. But there was this guy who was just going.
Always
through.
take cash. Pay those people with cash.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, cash. They like that. And then usually if you go in later, you get all the good deals. Like last hour, a lot
Yeah,
of
but the
farmers-
best stuff is gone though. So
That's
that's
true.
it's,
though.
it's
That's true. It's a double it. You gotta pick and choose.
Oh man, there's a breakfast place down there. Holy shit!
What do you usually go with, man?
I forget. I just get whatever their special is. They'll do like
The mushroom joint.
no, it's a biscuit, a fresh biscuit, and
Oh,
they'll
black
do
sauce. Black sauce. They got
maybe.
the biscuit. Yeah.
and it's be a fresh egg and
Oh damn,
pork barbecue on it
that sounds really
with
good.
like I don't know some weird jam.
That sounds
Oh,
like
it's
that's
ridiculous.
that sounds like a really dank snack.
Somebody's got the munchies.
But well, no, it was just going back to there was this guy, like it was Sunday morning, so you have a captive audience. There's thousands of people there, and this dude was going in there selling papers. Where you go through the city and you see a lot of people just sitting on the corner selling papers. This guy's like, no, I know where the market is. I'm going to take these papers. And it was like, dude, his whole rack was sold within an hour. And like he came back through, and I just like had to I was like, hey man, I like your entrepreneurial spirit. Like he's just like, I'm going to take the paper.
You
to
respect
the people.
his hustle.
I was like,
hustling.
I respect your hustle. Like that's some, you're not waiting for. I was like, and you see that, and I think, libertarians got to do a better job reaching out to those neighborhoods and those type of individuals that are in those that don't, that already are actively doing that, So that's my 2 cents.
As long as they don't get arrested for not. Was he licensed?
right.
Was he licensed?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's some ridiculous shit. But I think that would be something economically that needs to be pushed. That's the side that they understand. That is very easy to understand on the very low level.
Do we have to go in order on the topics, or can we skip?
No, let's.
Because
What do
that
you think,
unlicensed,
It'd be
the
anarchy
unlicensed
if you
thing,
do.
One of the things
I don't know.
It would be anarchy if
All
you
right,
do.
we're gonna skip.
Would it be
I mean,
licensing?
Kyle, you're kind of going
Kyle,
fucking
tell us
anarchy
about
here,
licensing.
All right, I don't.
dude. Kyle,
wanna-
what about the state, dude?
What's their role in this?
I think that since we're talking about licensing, I made a
no.
comment on Facebook recently that ended up getting memed, and I said I support unlicensed lemonade stands, and a lot of people
Unlicensed, unlicensed.
a lot of people have
Lemonade
heard.
stands,
A lot
Kyle.
of libertarians have heard about the licensing requirements some municipalities have for lemonade stands. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think a little kid's lemonade stand should need a business license to operate. So, but the position I was trying to take was that I don't think kids' lemonade stands should need a business license. I wasn't advocating that they ignore the licensing laws and just operate anyway, which would be
Wait,
like.
so you're advocating if your daughter wanted to, so Kyle Wagner's world. Kyle meets this lovely lady, and your daughter in a couple years.
Kyle's about to
Or
slay
son.
that
This is an
pussy.
elaborate.
Or so-
This
No,
is an
no, I'm
elaborate
just saying,
hypothetical right here.
No, I'm saying in Kyle's hypothetical world,
Okay.
your daughter's like, Daddy, I want to have a lemonade stand. You could be like, are you really gonna sit her down and be like, well, hypothetical daughter,
Baltimore County
in
says.
Baltimore County, you need to go to Towson, which is the county center of Baltimore County, and you need to go to the Bureau of Licensing, and you need to go in there, and you need to apply for a license to distribute
And pay a fee.
your sugary,
Yeah.
watery lemon juice.
Yeah, it's
it's
a good philosophical question. It sounds
Would you do
lighthearted,
that?
but it's not that. It's not that lighthearted. It's a little deeper than that. Would
But
you
what-
follow the rules,
But
even
Kyle,
if you
would
think
you
the
follow
rules
the
are
rules if you-
ridiculous? I
Well,
mean,
what would you do? What would Kyle Wagner do?
that's a great question. I would probably. If she really wanted it, we'd try to get a license for the lemonade.
Dude,
stand.
are you? Are you seriously?
Probably, yeah.
Kyle would get the license for his hypothetical daughter
Probably
to run a
yeah.
lemonade stand.
Yeah.
But then again, I've seen like 2 videos this week of where police have had 2 younger, I guess well into like I would say around 10, 12, something like that. I've seen them put them in handcuffs because they were selling water outside on the public street, and I wouldn't want that to happen to one of my kids.
There was a
So I understand that
52-year-old Hispanic lady in California that got the shit beat out of her by a cop.
Yes, I
for
saw
selling
that.
flowers on the side of the fucking road.
Saw that.
Flowers on the side of the fucking road. the rich fucking immigrants stealing our goddamn jobs, selling flowers on the side of the road.
It's a tough decision for a person.
Goes to jail.
You know, when you're going to decide to break a law, even a minor law, you're taking a risk that law enforcement's going to try to stop you. And then if they come to stop you, then you resist. Then you know you may end up getting your ass kicked. So you have to weigh the risks and versus the rewards. Is it worth doing it?
But do you think it's just though? I mean, is the law?
Do you
think the law is just though?
Yeah, I mean,
why?
Because
film that shit because I'm getting paid if that
the
happens.
government has the authority to make those kinds of rules. I mean, they're in charge, and I don't think it's just because it's a dumb law doesn't mean it's not a real law. And I like sports analogies. You know, I always say like some of the rules in sports are pretty dumb, but you still have to play by those rules.
Well, Kyle, like at what point do you draw the line?
Yeah, but that's sports though. Sports isn't voluntary.
Kyle, at what point do you draw the line against government?
I mean, as far as what I think government should do, or at what point would I actually resist government authority with violence? It would be a pretty high threshold for me
even with just a lemonade stand.
Yeah, I mean that would to just.
What about sitting on the back of the bus?
To just do that's another
Right,
great
is
example
that-
of an act of civil disobedience. But with the lemonade stand example, I mean it's kind of similar. It's a small thing, but if a cop comes to shut you down, are you going to ignore his commands and just tell him to buzz off? And because that confrontation is going to end in you
You're
in
not gonna take
handcuffs,
me,
it's going to
cop
escalate very quickly if you challenge his authority. And then it
Respect my
becomes
authority.
yeah, absolutely. It becomes about challenging his authority and not just a lemonade stand. And that's where you see people like the woman you were saying selling flowers, like ending up getting beat up and getting arrested or what have you. So you know you have to weigh that risk, and maybe if you want to take the chance.
Do you agree that it's still not right?
That
just because it's law doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but like I'm not.
But
do I think it's like some sort of immoral thing to have licensing requirements for small businesses, and that's an extremely small business.
Licensing is like basically the government, basically removing your liberty and selling it to you.
Exactly.
It's basically they're telling you like, no, motherfucker, you can't just go down to this river and just, go down here fishing. You have to pay the glorious state.
Well, this goes back to the philosophy that separates us.
Self-ownership.
Yeah,
Do you believe in self-ownership?
Not really.
What do you mean? Who the fuck's controlling your shit, man?
I mean, anytime you live in a society, you're subject to different rules. You're subject to, your actions affect others, and you have to think of that. And you're also subject to the laws of that country and that land.
You're above the law.
So I'm okay. You can say I'm a self-owner, but I don't.
No, you sound like fucking Vladimir Wagner.
Am I? Maybe I have self-ownership, but I can't take Matt's TV, you know what I mean? I don't have absolute control over my actions. I mean, I can do things, but I'm subject to criminal penalty if I break the law. So self-ownership, if you want to use that term, doesn't mean you can do whatever you want.
But I know there's a lot of weird and ancient sex laws on the book in a lot of states, including Maryland. I don't know the exact year, but I think it was oral sex became legal in the 60s, 70s.
I think what Philip is asking is, Kyle Wagner, would you put it in the butt?
I'm honestly not aware of the sexual laws in Maryland. As far as what I know, some states have some bizarre laws, especially with animal love.
Oh no! What?
But I really don't know. I'd have to check the books.
Dude, how do you know about this?
Check the Maryland code.
Damn.
Dude, there's some stupid
is anal.
There needs to. Well, I mean, I'm sure Stossel has done it before, where just all the ridiculous laws. I think there's one book I have it. I think it's on my bookshelf. It's all the government waste or something.
Yeah,
I've
seen things like that.
Yeah,
like $2 million bathrooms in New York.
Is anal sex illegal in Maryland?
I like the fact that Stossel's back on Reason. What's going on?
Is anal sex illegal in Maryland?
It could be.
God, I hope not.
Well, it's still
Matt, you want to answer this for
Kyle? It's I believe sodomy and I believe oral sex is included in that too. I believe I heard both of those are illegal in Maryland.
That's got to be.
Is it?
I don't believe that.
I
don't believe that
I
at all.
believe so.
I
don't
think it was
believe it.
repealed.
I would need
I think it was
a
repealed.
lawyer to
We need to check with the Maryland code on this one.
Hey,
very
could
well
you see
could
Kyle
be.
Wagner with some chick? Like, hey, no, don't S on the D.
Don't.
It's illegal, baby.
No, you can't. Right? Kyle.
We're gonna need a
Even though
we're
it's
gonna
against the law.
Yeah.
It's against the law. Would you allow her to S Kyle's D? The state might come in with their. All right.
Bedroom
This is
regulations.
a hypothetical situation. Kyle,
yes.
right? So you're with your lady, all right? And the law states in Maryland that it is illegal for her to perform said act. What would Kyle Wagner do in said situation? What would you do?
I don't know if I want to answer, but
What would you do? Kyle, what would you do? What would you do?
I mean, we'd probably go through with the act, I guess. I don't know.
But it's illegal.
We would go down to
It's
the
illegal.
Department of Labor
Kyle,
and Licensing,
Kyle,
and we would get a permit. We would get a blowjob permit, and
I mean, that's what's going on here, right? I mean,
no,
do we need? But, anyways, I digress. But
that would be a really stupid law. I honestly don't
okay,
think that.
so
There's
you
no way
agree-
that's a law in
So,
Maryland.
what is stupid and what is not?
Okay,
Like,
there's
whose
no way that's a
determination
law.
of that?
The politicians and the judges usually determine what
But-
what the laws are going to be, and then the judges have
Man's
some
fallible,
leeway. Yeah, of course he is. Of course we're fallible. You know, they make mistakes all the time. In fact, a lot of them are idiots.
A lot of them.
A lot.
But you know, someone has to has to make the rules.
So, in your mind, even if it's wrong, because it's law, it's okay.
Even if it's wrong because it's law, it's okay.
Like, yeah, even if it's unjust, even if the law
well, I
needs
mean,
to be disobeyed.
when you say it's unjust, you're making the determination that it's unjust. Someone else thinks that it's just. And the war on drugs is a great example. Like, people think
Right.
that drug prohibition is just, and you think it's unjust. So what's that metric for determining what's just and what's unjust when it really just comes down to your arbitrary opinion as far as, like, it's just your word versus someone else's word. You both say you're just. So.
No, I mean, I think it comes down to, like, if you're a sensible, minarchist, you know.
Yeah.
Say not even you're not there with you know in Ancapistan just yet or whatever, but you know, I think government only.
Writing that down.
I mean, what other function does government have but to defend property rights? Your property being your body, like, you know, your safety, and you know, the things that you own that you've occurred through you know, work and your labor, your own labor.
It also adjudicates disputes. So if you have a dispute with somebody and you can't resolve it between yourselves, you can go to take it to court.
Well, okay, yeah, that would go under property rights.
And enforces contracts.
That would go under property rights.
Okay, and it protects life and property from
property rights,
violent and fraudulent attacks, also from domestic aggressors and also from foreign aggressors. So, you know, if you get attacked by a foreign military
includes
or
military
something
and
like
police.
that,
so
you know, so it's an enforcement mechanism.
I mean, I think it's just an idea that if there's no victim, how can there be a crime? And you know,
the law just says it's a crime. Like, no victim, no crime is a tagline, but it's not actually true. Like, there's lots of laws where it actually is a crime and there's no victim, but maybe you do something that puts somebody potentially at risk, something that it jeopardizes someone's lives, so there's potential for a victim.
Like what?
How about Michelle Carter?
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to bring her into this exact one that he's talking about,
dude?
but like, okay, I'll give you an example, like building regulations. You know, if you build a shoddy building and the floor, somebody can fall through it, you know, you can get in trouble for that, even though no one actually fell through it yet. You violated building codes or something like that, and your actions have created a situation where somebody could potentially get hurt, even though they haven't
that's
actually
an argument
died.
for municipal building codes. We've had those for 150 years.
Or like drunk driving is another great example where, you know, it's the actual act of drunk driving potentially puts people's lives at risk, so it doesn't necessarily have to kill somebody for them to make the rule that, okay, drunk driving is prohibited.
I think a lot of times too, it's always falling back on these hypotheticals where people can't think beyond some sort of state entity controlling or some sort of authoritarian. Like, for example, well, okay, I agree. Like, there should be some levels of safety or assurance or warranty when you enter into, but I think that can exist in the private market. You don't need force for that to take place. For example,
You definitely need force outs.
no, not at all. Because, for example, well, no, yes, you might need force, but do you need it in the form of government? No. What you could do, for example, the welding industry. So, been in the welding industry for almost like 20 years now. OSHA came on like 70s. So, but years prior, when welding started coming on, there was like the basically compressed gas alliance. Like basically that was like, hey, there's a lot of safety issues. We need to like kind of form like uniformity amongst manufacturers, standards, codes, etc. Because there's a lot of workplace incidents. There's a lot of like, you know what I mean? This was like decades before OSHA. You know what I mean? But they basically, so it's called like, there's multiple organizations like American Welding Society, multiple entities, private, that got together for the betterment of the industry to make it safer. You know what I mean? And now, like, so the 70s, so you have industry and companies looking out for issue, things like that and trying to improve, and they create like private entities that ensure that they're abiding by certain standards and that predate like OSHA.
Well, what happens when you
that's a role I think craft unions could play.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you don't need
they're just another.
What happens when you face resistance? I mean, when someone refuses to comply.
Well, then that's the market in this day and age with social media. For example, say you're a company, right? And you're contracted, or you're a contractor, and your welders are certified per American Welding Society. So you, as a consumer, be like, hey, do I want to hire this company to do services because their welders are certified by AWS, American Welding Society? Like, there could be certain like
it almost sounds like a cartel. It almost sounds like a business cartel.
Well, I mean, but how's that different from government?
I mean, government is sort of
different? It's
government's the coercive sphere or
they
sector.
may end up a monopoly, but they're not a real monopoly unless the state says you have monopoly.
They don't have
powers.
any teeth. They don't have any teeth, and that's where I'm trying to explain to you guys. Like the market
it doesn't matter that they have any teeth. It's a matter like if you're trying to create a better bit. Like if you're just as a business owner, you're gonna be like, it's gonna behoove me to align myself with these companies that are basically saying like, look, like I'm legit. Like I'm not some because
I don't know.
Like see, I lean to that ANCAP outlook, but. It's,
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's fucking assholes. I mean,
I know because I'm relatively familiar with the construction industry, and it's kind of the same way with, plumber's license, electrician's license, but carpenters aren't licensed. But
I mean, a lot of those licensings are bullshit. They're just barriers to entry. It's like any swinging dick. If you can read a book, you can fucking pass a license. Doesn't matter, dude. You literally could read the shit, go in there, pass the shit, get your license, and be like, I'm a licensed carpenter. I just read the books. I've never hammered a fucking nail.
Yeah, but in some places...
you could. I don't know. I mean...
What?
But a lot of the licensing is bullshit. It's just like study for the test.
Yeah,
it's like government schooling. Just teach to the test.
Right.
Pass the fucking test. You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
And same thing with braiding hair. Some places braiding hair is you need a license to do that. And I mean that really hurts, people in poor communities and stuff who rely on that to go to certain people and just be able to do that, and then everyone wants to inject the law into everything. Like, there's another thing I know it's completely, it's not on the same scale as what you were talking about. But I recently got into a fight with a bunch of people on this Arbutus Improvement Association where
what happened?
Look out, man.
God, some dumb woman felt the need.
Is it a neighborhood association, Phil?
No, it's just like a random Facebook group. And
okay.
And
but it wants to be a neighborhood association. They've got no teeth though. They need governmental teeth.
Well, so this woman commented and said, I think you all should know this, and we should look into the legality of this issue, where this woman went to a snowball stand, and she put in a tip in the tip jar, and the girl behind the counter, I guess they got struck up a conversation, and they told her, well, tips don't actually go to us. We get paid under the table. The tips actually go to a charity overseas. And this woman thought like this was the end of the world. And everyone commenting thought they need to be reported to the IRS. They need and
busybody. Kyle, what's your stance?
Well, I didn't represent myself well because I was maybe a little bit buzzed, and I called her a communist
Take
on,
cash to
on
the
the
farmer's
site.
market.
But I mean, everyone was just telling. She was saying, "Well, this is why Social Security is the way it is, and because people are cheating the system, and these people need to be reported." And I just think
so. She was advocating for this system.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
A busybody.
That's
She's a fucking
agorism, is
busybody.
what you guys are talking about.
Bureaucratic busybody.
It's like
neighborhood busybody.
You're promoting agorism, ignoring the law, and trying to circumvent the law, and not paying the taxes.
If it's wrong, if it's unjust,
and you're like Kyle John Wagner.
Kyle.
Well, I don't promote.
Kyle, what happened, man? Remember, like a couple of years ago when you came to me, remember you were saying your homeowners association was basically on your shit because
they still are.
They still because of your goddamn screen door. Okay,
no, I actually got a deferment on the screen door because it's over 12 years old. Or I got grandfathered in. So they said if you ever get a new screen door, it has to have less than 15-inch metal panel at the bottom.
Because I remember you talked to me and you basically were like, it was like what 18 inches.
It's something.
The homeowners association. It was
it's
like you had to have a 15-inch kick plate.
Mine is like 3 inches too big.
And it was metal door.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I knew something. Yeah. And it's like the limit is like 12 and mine's like 15 inches or something. Like somebody must have walked up my sidewalk with a tape measure and been like,
so they
this metal panel at the bottom of his door.
They trespassed.
And you own your house, but you own a townhome. It's a townhome in this community. That's a homeowners association, which violates your...
No, it actually doesn't violate anything because
Why?
I bought into it, knowing that they had a homeowners association.
Okay. I mean, you voluntarily
they have the authority to set building codes and regulations for the neighborhood.
So you think that's okay?
Yeah, I do.
This is a non-governmental agency,
but it's a non-governmental agency that's a force. So what do you?
It's a non-governmental agency, but if somebody resists the homeowners association, they're actually backed up by the state of Maryland. They're an incorporated entity.
Oh, why do you need the state? Why do you need the state?
Because they have the coercive power to put a lien on your house and actually
your lawn grows out of control. Kyle Wagner, another hypothetical. All right, you're in my neighborhood. Kyle Wagner's goddamn lawn is growing out of control. All the neighbors are complaining, and everybody's like, "We've reported to the homeowners association. He's not responding, and he's got all these fines, and we're having another meeting."
Yeah.
At some point, there's going to be that guy in the neighborhoods be like, "Look, motherfucker." You know,
they towed my neighbor's car for this shit.
They might violate your NAP, but they'll be like, "Look, you live here. It might be, I don't know." It might violate the NAP. It definitely violates the NAP. But there's going to be someone that's going to be like, look, a lot of people complaining. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe it doesn't have enough teeth.
The homeowners association should just shame people into
right. Like they would shame you. They'd be like a pox on Kyle Wagner's house for letting his
social media.
lawn.
They could shame you into cutting your grass.
Well, people don't always care about that though. Being shamed, like you raise a great question. What happens if somebody just lets their house deteriorate and it really looks bad, and they just refuse? They ignore the letters, they ignore the warnings, they ignore the fines, they don't pay anything.
Well, then you'd be like a neighborhood pariah. You'd be the asshole.
I don't know. I don't know what the HOA can do in that situation in my neighborhood. I'd have to check the bylaws. Like, I know they put a lien on your house if you have unpaid dues, so when you go to sell the house,
it's taxation
they
theft.
They get to collect it. No, it's not.
Kyle Wagner is tax. It's not theft.
No. Taxes
Dude,
are,
so they can put a lien on your house. Like, okay, your house is paid off. Your house is paid off. Okay, in Kyle Wagner's world, your house is paid off. You paid for that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't pay your tax bill this year because you're like, I think public schools suck. They're terrible. I don't want to pay for this service anymore. I don't have kids yet. Why am I paying for this service? I don't get anything out of this. I get nothing. I didn't sign up to educate these fucking kids.
Yeah.
Right? You don't pay your taxes. Your house is already paid for.
Yeah.
But the sheriff can come to your house, on your property,
and kick you out.
And kick you the fuck out off your and you would just be like, well,
yeah, they have that's what
the law says. You would go down with a fight.
No, I mean, when you say go down with a fight, I mean, I'm not willing to die over it, certainly, and I'm not willing to start a violent revolution over unpaid property.
Where do you draw the line?
I mean, when you say, okay, you're like, oh, I'm going to fight it. Are you willing to shoot the cop that comes to your property? Are you willing to shoot the cops that come to back him up? I mean, are you willing to shoot the politicians? Like, how much violence are you really willing to take as far as an act of revolution over an unpaid property tax bill?
We don't have to get to that point, but I'm saying
it does come to that point, Alex.
I would get to that point.
It escalates immediately because the cop comes and to throw you out, and it's like you're either going to fight or you're going to submit.
No, it's definitely going to. But what I'm getting at is these are the debates we need to have. We don't, talking about that, like basically. The fact, like, that just...
So, I mean, Kyle, like, so you think if a police officer is going to draw a gun on you all because you didn't pay some tax, I mean, you think that's morally justified for that cop? And you don't think it would be morally justified for me to draw a gun on that police officer if he was going to draw a gun on me first?
He wouldn't immediately draw a gun on you. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how that would work with the house. Let me finish.
That was the question. Is it justified for him to?
Yeah, absolutely, because you would be resisting arrest at that point. If he goes to evict you, and then you resist arrest, then he escalates based on your escalation. He pulls the gun. You become a threat to him. He becomes a threat to you, and you'll die over it. I mean, you will. He'll shoot you.
I mean, like that's reality. That's the world we live in. But what I'm getting at is it right? Yeah,
you guys have the complete opposite. You have to look at it completely separate, like different from the just do a whole 180 and look at it from a different angle.
What are we saying on the kylosphere?
If we don't have the ability to enforce laws, our entire society falls apart. Because people they do whatever they want, and then what can we do but say, oh, please don't do that. Don't rape, don't steal, don't hurt people. Like the legal structure of our society would break down, and everybody would just do whatever they wanted. They wouldn't be obligated to follow through with their contracts. They wouldn't be obligated to respect private property. These things are
better. Do you have Here's what I'm getting at.
They would if they wanted a high standard of living.
Let's go down the line. Are you more like? Are you like more half glass full, half empty? Like when it comes to I look at the best in an individual.
Well, I mean...
I try to.
To go back to the previous point where he was saying about when would it become justified to pull a gun on a police officer, I feel like over a tax lien, no. I wouldn't. But if someone came to take away my daughters and draft them in a war and said, you're coming with me, I would. And this isn't tough guy speech, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I would pull a gun on any cop to try to take my daughter away.
I mean, there's a line I think that everybody maybe we don't need to talk about it on air.
Yeah,
but there's a line somewhere.
There is absolutely.
Well, the way that we should direct our energies is trying to get the laws changed to make them better instead of violent resistance. Like you're talking about with the draft of your daughters. Okay, you pull a gun on the cop. I mean, he's going to shoot you, and if he doesn't shoot you, his backup is going to shoot you. You're declaring an act of rebellion against the entire government, not just that one single cop.
But that's my right.
And they have the ability to continue to escalate force that's just overwhelming your individual ability to fight back.
True, but that's something I'm willing to die for with my children.
All right.
And I feel like that's my right.
Then you would die.
I agree. And I just said, but over a tax lien, over an unpaid parking ticket, I've been arrested before where I've had to turn myself in over a failure to report. And I didn't resist the police officers. I went in there voluntarily. I did what they said because whole long story. We definitely don't have time for it, but it's completely off subject. But I mean, there's times where I'm willing to comply because it's not worth dying for. Yeah. There's some things that are worth, and I think that's the line we need to be able to draw. And I think what you're saying about changing laws, I think that's definitely changing the culture and changing the way we feel about these laws. Yeah. And putting them to legislator is a way. I mean, it's a way to make it popular. So that's where I agree with you.
It's a peaceful way as well.
Yes,
which is why I'm so supportive of it. I would like to see our property taxes abolished completely and our schools privatized. And then if we could change the laws in that way, you don't need violence to achieve that. You just need to win on votes, and you need to win people's hearts and minds and win them to your way of thinking.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's I think the philosophy needs to be reiterated, that it's like, look, why should you be responsible? Like, I own this property and I'm paying for, just personal responsibility needs to be.
It's very un-PC of you.
I know, unfortunately.
Yeah. Personal responsibility.
Well, here's the other thing too, and kind of basically what you guys are talking about. I think a lot of people their mindset doesn't change until it actually something actually affects them directly. Mm-hmm. So. I guess basically going down the line. All right, so run-ins with the law. Who's been arrested? Phil, go. You been arrested? You been detained?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've had it happen. Matt?
Yes.
Yes. Phil?
Yes.
Kyle?
No.
See? There you go. Okay.
Not as an adult, though.
Not as an adult?
Yeah.
How old?
13, maybe. 12, 13.
What happened, dude? Do you want to talk about it?
We broke into trains.
Yeah, no shit, dude. You were a hobo? You were like
No,
a 13-year-old hobo?
we busted seals. We were looking for something worth stealing, and
What'd you find, man?
like government applesauce and
MREs?
Chinese imported nails. No,
Nothing cool?
nothing good.
You went into the wrong boxcar, man.
Yeah.
You could have got like...
I would be happy to talk about the time I got arrested.
It was the
Dude,
the
if-
1980s.
I'll
man.
try to make it as short as possible, but
I mean...
this
I
is
did
just,
punch
it's
my
just a
neighbor.
series of dumb things that
like what I'm getting at is a lot of people don't like actually their mindset doesn't change until like they're actually been confronted by
true, and I agree. And
so what happened, dude?
So I happened to I was going into a show in PA.
Where'd you go?
I was going to
Where'd you see
it was
Where in PA?
actually it was at the championship up in Lemoyne.
Oh
and
yeah, dude.
it was the
it's like
old
right
one.
over the river at Harrisburg.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
but it was the old one at the
Lemoyne's
time.
a cool town, man.
Yeah, and I went up to go show, and I was
What'd you
speeding.
see, man?
I was,
Wisdom in Chains.
I was actually miles. Good pull. But miles away was from Australia. They came up. This is their only closest they were coming. So
Okay.
this was like 2006. So
Okay,
I got
okay.
pulled over. Cop pulled me over. I was speeding through a construction zone.
Oh,
So
fuck
whatever,
balls.
So I got a ticket. He gave me a ticket. He didn't really want anything to do with me, so he just gave me a ticket. I sent in the payment.
Yeah.
PA didn't report that to the MVA in
They
Maryland.
never do. They never do, dude. Speed all you want, dude.
I didn't know that.
You should never even sent that payment in, dude. They wouldn't give no fucks.
Well, I sent it in, and they I guess when Maryland knew about the infraction, but they didn't. So they just went ahead and suspended my license. So I was driving with a suspended license.
Oh,
What-
fuck balls.
So I got pulled over within
Some,
2
like,
hours.
technicality.
I was 18.
Technicality.
I was like 18. I didn't know
some
anything.
bullshit.
Yes,
Some bureaucratic,
exactly.
like, fat finger. Like
So
we
it was no big deal.
bullshit.
I mean, it was kind of just a bullshit thing. I was on my way to work. I got pulled over, and then literally like
Dude,
2 miles
so
up the
they're-
road,
they're
I got
like-
pulled
they're-
over.
They're infringing. They're infringing on you.
Exactly, and I
making
mean
that paper.
And that, I mean, whatever. They don't. I mean, the cops don't know what I got.
Yeah, they're fucking up your day, dude.
It was, and I mean, in that sense, like you said,
They're
I'm not going to
infringing.
die over that. Like, I'm not going to resist
they're
in that
fuck-
situation. I'm
An
willing.
inconvenient.
Very inconvenient, and it was sucked because I was on my way to work and I was late to work.
Trying to support.
So, long story short, apparently they say my driving on a suspended license. I need to show up to court. Well, I got pulled over on 2 different occasions. I only got 1 in the mail.
Yeah,
So I
because
thought
they
maybe
fucking suck.
it was within an hour or 2 of each other. So I'm dumb. I was a kid. I didn't know. So I was able to, I
How
went
old
to the
were you
one
then?
court
How
date.
old- How old were you?
I was like 18.
Dude, I was pissing.
I was like 18,
18,
19.
man.
And so it was just so stupid that they suspended my license, and then I went to the court date, the later court date. I was planning on going to it. Well, then I got a bunch of police officers that came to my door, banging on it, busting it, like trying to bust it down, putting dents in my door. 10 police
Where?
officers.
When?
This was a few
Where
weeks.
were you living?
I was I lived in Baltimore Highlands in that area, and about 10 police officers showed at my door.
What?
They were kicking my door. They're screaming because they were screaming at me, telling me I need to open the door. Well,
What?
My father's a police officer, so
Failure to
so
not
I
report.
called. So I immediately called him and I said, "What should I do?" He said, "Don't answer. They're trying to get you to come outside so they can arrest you. Don't anything they tell you. Don't listen to them."
Right.
So yeah, they were
You're
saying
in your
they were,
safe space.
yeah, they were telling me don't. They were telling me don't. And my dad was telling me like don't even respond. Just pretend that you're not there. So they're busting in my door. They're banging it with their nightsticks.
They got to get their numbers up.
They're
They're
telling
trying
me
to get that quota up.
there are quotas. I will tell you that. Those
that
are real.
shit's real.
And so, but anyway,
Kyle,
so
what do you think about quotas? No. Go
Let's
ahead.
hear your story.
So, like, what
okay,
the
so
fuck?
I'll try to make this quick. So they were busting down my door. They were
Shit.
the nightsticks. There was 10 police officers showed up. I counted 10, and they could. They were telling me they're towing my car. I bet if I don't come out now, they're going to tow it. And what they ended up doing is after about 30 minutes, they turned on my hose on my faucet, and they went. I saw them from my window. They went to the end of the corner. My dad said, "Don't go off and don't." They're trying to get you to come outside, and when they come outside, they can arrest you. So
damn, dude,
so I went.
wall.
Yeah. So I knew there was no way getting out of it. So they went away. I let the hose run for hours until I saw the police car go away. Who thought he was hiding from me, and I went that night, turned myself in. There was no other option. And like I said, it's not one of those things I'm not willing to die for. I'm willing to put up with the consequences of me failing a court date because I didn't know. I just didn't know, and that was my part. I didn't know, and it's stupid. I shouldn't have had to do it.
Ignorance is no excuse.
No, it's still technically county. I was like a stone's throw from the city. And so I went, I turned myself in. I was there for a few hours, and I was able to get out by the morning. And so the next morning I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to my car. I step in my car. Cop comes at me, pulls his gun on me.
What?
I didn't even see him, and he pulls his gun on me and
City or
says,
county?
And he says, I have a warrant for your arrest. I said, I turned myself in last night. And he was like, pulled his gun on me, and he was like, drop your keys. And I'm half in my car, holding up my
warrant? Like, what the fuck, dude?
And I said, I turned myself in last night. I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, let me call this in. And so he's like, don't move. Get out.
Jesus
And he was
Christ,
like,
dude.
he was about to put handcuffs on me when I guess he called into whoever, and they told him,
You're a dumb
he's good.
fuck. Did
So
they tell him he's a
he
dumb
was
fuck?
waiting for me all day and didn't know I turned myself in. And it's just stupid shit like that.
Yeah, dude.
That
Well, I was alright.
I mean, I admit I made my mistakes, but this was over something as dumb as a failure to appear. That I had 10 police officers who could have been doing something way more productive with their time, and said they focused energy on me.
There was a warrant out for your arrest, so they're going to arrest you.
I understand.
They're just
but
doing their
it's the
job.
warrant itself. It's
They're
the
just
warrant
doing their
itself.
job.
That is their job.
I agree. I agree.
You don't
I
have to.
don't agree
muscle.
with it, but I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, you
I
don't have to
understand.
make it difficult. Like I would have just, when they knocked, you could have just gone out and
I don't
dealt
know.
with it then.
Well,
you didn't have to hide in your house and all this.
Well, I mean, I was under advice of my father, who's a former sergeant.
Yeah.
Over some
You know,
bureaucratic
But
bullshit.
we'll get the bureaucratic bullshit sorted out.
I mean,
you don't have to
Yeah, but that's what I'm
be
saying, dude,
difficult
because,
over it.
Well, I wasn't difficult. I turned myself in voluntarily. I called in, told them I'm coming
Eventually.
in. Well, that night. I mean, I wasn't trying to have them drag me out and.
But statistically, enough fuck-ups like that by the government, and that cop...
It could have gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
And all charges were dropped. After when they sent me the court date, I went to jail for that, and they dropped everything.
For his life.
They dropped absolutely everything. They said, it was our mistake, it was clerical error.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
dude, like that's
So
what I'm
you
saying.
got
like,
it
some
sorted out
clerical
without killing
error
anybody.
Could, like,
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm talking about that line that you draw. I mean, it wasn't worth dying over, and it's not worth that to me personally.
Yeah.
But there are. I mean, I felt violated. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hurt anybody. I
mean,
didn't.
they are only human. They make mistakes, but you went in, you got it sorted out. You didn't need to resist arrest or anything like that.
But there's cases where people aren't even resisting and they still end up getting shot. So if I went out there, I was putting my life.
That's bad.
I was putting my life on the line. So my dad knew that. He was a former police officer. He said, "Don't do it. Don't put yourself on the line. You can go in later tonight and tell them you're coming in peacefully, no issue, no anything else." But if I went out there, I would have been slammed on the concrete. I would have been handcuffed.
Lucky they didn't plant drugs on you.
10 very worked up police officers.
Their cameras would have been on.
Could you have talked to him through the door and been like, "Look, I'm coming out peacefully. Please don't."
They still
hurt
would have.
me."
As police
Think
protocol,
so?
they still would have thrown me. I mean, that's protocol. They
So-
still would have put me on the ground,
Even if
handcuffed me.
even if you told them that you were friends with Kyle Wagner.
So,
Yeah, well, I mean, Kyle. Okay, so you could say it's their job, but I mean, I would say it's a shitty job, and I don't know. I wouldn't volunteer for that job because it is such a shitty job. As far
Got a
as
good
like
pension plan.
you're enforcing laws that aren't really morally just.
A lot of them are morally just, though.
You're enforcing.
so?
I mean, well,
Laws against murder and theft and things like that.
True.
Like a lot of the people these
True.
guys arrest are real criminals.
okay, but we're talking right now in the United States or I believe about 77% of people incarcerated are in there for nonviolent drug crimes.
I mean, the law
77%.
the law is currently that those drugs are illegal. So they
77% though.
They broke those laws.
Yeah, it's
and
a
that's
shitty
why
law
they're
to
in jail.
enforce, though.
Well, it doesn't matter that you think it's shitty. It's the law.
I mean, but you don't have to. Nobody forces you to be a cop.
Yeah, they agree with the drug laws, and for the most part, like people don't agree with us on drug prohibition or non-prohibition. They are prohibitionists. The people are the citizens, most of them, and the cops are. and the politicians are. So everybody's on board with this except for us. And we're
is that a
going, you
law
guys
or
are all
statute?
immoral, but they're like, we don't care because in their opinion, drug prohibition is moral.
You know, I don't think like so many cops are on board with it. You know, I think oftentimes, have you heard of LEAP?
Yeah, I mean, LEAP is one organization of cops that's against it, but that's not the majority of cops. And I think a lot of them probably haven't even thought about it from a philosophical standpoint, either morally or whether it's a pragmatic or, whether it makes sense. So they're just like, hey, these drugs are bad for the community. Heroin's bad, so we're going to arrest people that bring it into the community, and that's as far as they think it through.
So basically cops are like stormtroopers.
Yeah. I mean, they're law enforcement. They enforce the laws, and you can't. You're trying to get them to more agree with your morals and your values and your opinions, and they don't agree with them. They're on a different page entirely. So what we need to do is change the law, and then they'll enforce the right laws.
Well, see, I'm sorry, I hate to make stuff about myself again, but I feel like I'm really educated on this to talk about because full disclosure, I come from a family of police officers. My mom, my dad, I have an uncle, cousin. My best friend is a county officer, and he's very much along the line, very like libertarian speak. He's very, but as soon as you come and talk about drugs, he's like, no, well, all my arrests come from drugs. Like it's like the, he knows that's kind of like. That's where I get all my arrests from. That's how I get into the door.
That's his bread and butter.
Yeah, so he is a prohibitionist.
So that's where you get the fund. They get the funding from the state.
And knowing him, he's very, very down to earth, very, I guess say pragmatic. I guess is the word, for lack of a better word. And he's he understands it. He doesn't. He kind of just shrugs his shoulder like,
Bill, who sent you?
Yeah.
Who sent you?
You need to do good vetting. He didn't vet me well enough.
I'm just kidding.
Well, this brings us our next topic is planting drugs, which was,
that was the big story. It was on the Daily Show.
Is that show still on the air? With
I know. It's Trevor Noah. Like he's not even that.
He's
funny.
not funny.
Not
funny.
Funny.
He's funny, Phil. Like I don't even.
I can't. I gave it a shot. When it first came on,
I watched a clip of it just because of the fact that it was a local story. And I watched it, and no, he's not that good.
No, he's not funny.
No, he's not that good.
Well, I mean, that's ridiculous.
He's no
Jon Stewart.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
not
planting drugs is absolutely ridiculous. That's a total abuse of power, and those guys, they should lose their jobs, and they should probably be prosecuted as well.
But
for what is that? What's that charge? Tampering with evidence or something like that?
Yes.
Obstruction of justice.
They won't be charged with a crime. They may
be, but
they may lose their job.
They absolutely should. This is.
Then they go work for another department.
This is
ridiculous.
Howard
County or Baltimore County.
But they're on paid vacation right now that we're all paying for.
Yeah, they're basically. So that brings back, like, if anything, and I think a great step in the right direction is to hold police accountable would be if they had to have their own private insurance. If they had to basically be like, look, motherfucker, like you fuck up. It's out of your own goddamn pocket, not tax subsidized. Like, oh, you killed a kid. Oh, cool. We'll take 6 months off paid vacation, and taxpayers will pay for it, and probably won't be charged with something. But you planted drugs. Like
insurance is for risk, Alex. It's for like your car gets in an accident or something. It spreads the risk. Like, this is a matter of justice. These guys have committed a violation, and they need to.
The state's not a good. The state's not a good measure on that. The market is a better measure on who can actually do policing. They'd be like, all right, this guy's mentally stable and reasonable. I'd much rather have him or her, or I don't want to gender they.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume any genders. I don't want anybody triggered.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just they.
Dude, you can chillax. You're in the danger zone, bro.
No,
danger zone.
But I'm just
crime and punishment.
I think because so many times it's like, even if these two incidents that happened in Baltimore where it's clear, like, right, Phil, you saw both. Did everybody see the videos?
Just the first one.
You saw the first one where they go down the alleyway and they literally like. The camera turns up. So, Baltimore City a year ago, post Freddie Gray, they basically were like, all right, cameras for everybody. But they clearly turned it off. And then they see them putting the shit in a fucking Coke can, right? And some litter in an alleyway. Turn the camera off, walk down the alleyway, and then kind of like hey, let's all huddle up, turn the camera on,
Let's go look for these drugs.
Let's look for some drugs. I think this guy left some drugs in this alleyway. Let's go down here. And it was like some shit out of some fucking CSI, like, you know, Miami Vice shit, you know, like made for Hollywood, you know, and they're like, it's right here, you know, like,
Well,
it's like, are you fucking serious? And the camera turns back on, and it's literally like, are you serious? And then it happened again on basically a traffic stop where it was a different officer. There was a lapse of like 30 minutes, and then they find, oh, look what I found, you know. It was two different cops. The camera turns off for a half hour, and it's like, are you fucking serious? Like, it's clearly, you know. And then the police commissioner basically is well, that's kind of let's not jump to conclusions, you know. Just kind of like, let's woe the fuck down here. Planting evidence, that's a serious offense, and we need to. It's like, no, it's on fucking camera. It's pretty fucking clear cut. Like, it's not that. Like, you fucking serious? That's why That's why putting cameras on these assholes and then turning them on and off. It's like, you get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Are we fucking stupid? Like, that's ridiculous. But anyways, like,
well, sorry, I'm making this more
think,
about
Phil?
me. It's all about me. I guess. Sorry,
no,
guys.
dude, no, dude.
But
like, I mean,
I talked
it's
to
pretty clear cut, right?
I talked to a few.
Cut.
I talked to a few police officers. Like I said, I have a lot of people I know are police officers, a lot of acquaintances, a lot of, you know, close friends, like my best friend is. And I heard from someone who said that his defense is that he was saying with the first video we're talking about that it came out.
Right.
He was reenacting it for the camera because he turned it off. And he realized he turned off after he found it, so he reenacted it. And everyone pretty much knows he's full of shit. And
that's so fucking.
But that's his defense.
You're incompetent. You're fired either way.
Yeah. So he's not going to get charges. He's basically going to be like, oh, you're gone.
I doubt any charges will come.
No, there's no way he gets charged.
Exactly.
It's a pretty slick defense. I mean, I gotta
is.
say, like, okay, he took some time to think about how am I gonna spin this. I think it's probably bullcrap. I think
exactly.
You know.
But these are the people that are carrying out the laws, Kyle.
Yeah. Well, I said, you know, this is an example of corruption, and this is where these guys need to be punished for their actions. You know, that to me they committed a crime. Like you can't plant evidence on a guy to, you know, make him get worse charges. You know, that's ridiculous. So they should be punished. They should be fired and then punished and charged, in my opinion.
Unfortunately, it's not. You know, it's not going to happen.
Well, it should happen. I mean, and we can raise a stink about that as libertarians and say, hey, this is outrageous, and that would play well in a community that's already upset with police abuse.
But they're not upset about that. And I know
Baltimore City,
they're not. The Black Lives Matter people that I deal with and I talk to, and I'm kind of close to. Mm-hmm. Their solutions are like, I'll bring up this. I'm like, how about we just end the drug war? It's failed. You're losing to a plant. Yeah, how about a lot of this would be solved at? And they're like, no, we need more black police officers.
They think it's a
absolutely, and I
it's affirmative action solution.
Well, Baltimore City Police Department's like 40% black officers.
That they said in their communities they need more black police officers, and I get that when everything you've been taught is. From the state
will fix it.
Yeah, the state will fix it. It's you go through their educational system. Yeah. They teach you that the state is the solution for everything, and they only can materialize, I guess, in their brain that we need more state solutions. We need more black police officers. That would solve this. And I'm thinking that how about we just make marijuana legal and not in the sense like guess what? The government's gonna control it and we can tax the hell out of it, as everyone always says.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely trying to incentivize more city residents to actually they're trying to sweeten the pot for city residents to become police officers, and they honestly think that is the silver bullet to solve a problem that's basically something that has been festering for decades, and just been getting worse based on the drug war. And then social economic, basically the drug war and economics.
Yeah,
that's it, and that's it. Those two issues right there, and they're definitely desperate in Baltimore when they're the whole ceasefire weekend. I mean, it's ridiculous. When they're advertising
I don't think more black police officers is going to solve the problem. I don't think that's the real problem.
No.
But apparently they do. You know.
Well, like
Yeah.
everybody in city council's coming up with these fucking ridiculous ideas, and it's
We got to have a plan. Here's my plan. Get the camera on me.
yeah, exactly.
I'm coming for your job, Mayor.
Yeah. It's all just like who wants to get like their 10-second news clip on like the local radio station or the fucking local Baltimore City, the local news media outlets. It's like really like you're going down the same goddamn fucking roads and nothing's changed in decades. It's like maybe you need to start. And that's the problem is people don't want to confront the truth. They just want inconvenient, just
comforting lies.
Yes.
comforting lies.
Yes.
Exactly. They don't want, and that's where I think it's an opportunity, like I said earlier, for libertarians to really cut through the bullshit and just start actually reaching out to people, because I think we're at that point where people are sick and tired of hearing this shit. Like they're just tuned out. What do you guys think? What do you think, Phil? Just talking to regular, everyday people. What do you think?
About what?
Just anybody, just like people, like their general sense. Like I think people are checked out. I hope. I mean, there's some people that are still watching. Like,
I'm thinking. I can't think of the word. They're Move on. It'll come to me.
that's all right. What do you think, Matt? Like in your daily, like, what do you think, man? Are people like woke, or are they just like kind
They're
of
just indifferent. They're
I don't. I think more people are waking up. I think.
step out of Facebook world. I mean, we're in some weird. I mean, there's Kyle Wagner meme stashes. I mean, we're in like alternative world.
We have
real
a
world.
sub-community or a subculture of
Yeah,
libertarian.
get outside of the subcultures.
This is our echo chamber.
Yeah, we are
Get
in an
out of your
echo chamber.
chambers.
Yeah.
Like that's basically maybe go down the line and
Well,
like, we can
yeah.
all talk about that from a
Okay,
personal-
well, let me go into it. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think largely, dude, especially like as far as like libertarianism goes. When you think about like what libertarianism was back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then you think about what it is now, and how much it's grown, how many people even know what that word means.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people are waking up like that. I honestly, I feel that a lot of people are libertarian leaning.
I'd say so. I don't know. What do you think, Phil? Want another beer, dude? You good?
I could use another beer. It's so hard to talk to people. I have a lot of coworkers and friends and family especially, that just everything is like, well, the problem is we don't have government health care. I want free health care. And it's just everywhere I turn to, especially in the state. I mean, everyone's always solution is the government. And I kind of agree with you a lot of points, like hearing the podcast, and I hear a lot of stuff where, like, yeah, the government, there might be some necessary elements of government, but, I've never seen limited government. I've never seen people just take personal responsibility. It's always they want to push the issues off on everyone else. It's everyone else's fault why I'm the way I am. I'm fat because I eat too much. Like, I never applied myself into, learning some type of trade, so I'm stuck at my job making, 50 a year, whatever. And that's on me. That's my problem. That's my cross to bear. And so many people are just being, especially in this day and age, where it's just like, it's not my problem. It's someone else's problem. It's the rich taking advantage of me. It's
Scapegoats.
exactly. And it's so hard to talk to these people and just try to give them just a small bit of like, how about you are the way you are because of you?
Yeah,
and it's so hard, especially when it's your family, it's your friends, your coworkers I have to see every day.
Yeah, man.
And I want to scream and like just shake them and like, what are you talking about? And it's so hard. And even in just the smallest bit of trying to give them stuff to think about, they take it as a personal attack. And that's just the way the society is today. It's just, you're predisposed to any type of criticism or changing the way you think is just so wrong. And it's against you. And like, I'm attacking your personal character. When I'm just saying, like, how about you just try thinking about something in a different light? And it's so hard to get through these people. And this is my family and my friends and my coworkers. And it's hard.
That's the toughest, dude. Like trying to like talk to family. That's like
so hard.
Yeah, or family, or like some close friends, or is anybody trying to, because it's like, what the fuck, like, especially when people like you think they're almost there, and then they just like,
Yes.
and it's like soon as you thought they were out, it's like
I've had a lot more. I've had a lot more success since I switched to limited government away from anarchy. It's just it's much easier to talk to people about what you think the law should be. Why you think the drug policy is wrong, what you think about the education policy, So, but I would use the term progressivism or progressives to describe what most people are, what they think and how they think, just as a blanket term.
That's the term I like.
Yeah, I that's what I call them. I call myself a classical liberal. I'd ultimately like to just be considered a regular liberal, but it's really hard to recapture a political label like that. But so I just know where everyone's at. When I'm talking to you guys, I know you're anarchists. I know like where anarchists stand. I know where progressives stand. I know where communists stand. I know where fascists stand. I know where ANCOM stands. So you have to understand everybody's philosophy, how they think, where they're coming from, and then you can tailor your arguments to where they're at and bring them to where you want them to be. So if I'm talking to a progressive who wants government health care, and even the little words you use, the language is important. Like I don't say universal health care, I say government health care, right? Because the government's going to be paying for it, providing for it. But then I say, like, how well does the government operate other things? Look at the cost. They never have any theory of cost. They have no idea how much this stuff's going to cost.
None.
Right? Now, how much the taxes are going to impact them, and then do they really want to put their health care in the hands of the government and let the government make the decision? Okay, we'll pay for this. We're not paying for that. They think it's a blank check, and then they're just going to get whatever they want, and it hasn't worked like that anywhere. It's not the what's the word I'm looking for? The magical cure, panacea, I think is the word.
Panacea, yeah.
It's not a panacea. It's not a
Word of the day.
solution to all of our problems. And you look at public schools, right? Have they been a solution to all of our educational problems? Like how well has government schooling worked out for us when you have all these dropouts, you have lots of high rates of illiteracy, you have violence in the schools.
They need to just spend
They're not
more.
great.
But you know what that's gotten me though? It's catering my argument to people who I'm trying to picture my audience. All that's gotten me is a Facebook like. That's all it's gotten me.
One
because
like, that's it.
Well, I'm just saying a like in general. Facebook. Oh, I don't.
Like?
A lot of people mute me from their timeline.
Dude, how did you get on this podcast?
But no, but
dude, Kyle Wagner's over here getting blowjays, dude.
But no,
he's a narc.
Right?
Who let you the fuck in here?
This guy to my left. You didn't vet me properly. But
it's got him properly.
I'm just saying it doesn't get me anywhere because the next time I bring up something that's kind of like along the same situation, like I know what I'm doing when I post stuff out there. I'm trying to reach out to a certain audience, and I'll try to kind of like around that same way of thinking that they like that Facebook post. Like I know, and I say something, just in general, I don't even know the example, but I'll say something, they'll like it, and I'll be like, okay, you see where I'm coming from. So I'll go something along the same lines, and then they'll write this whole art page about how I'm a terrible person, how that's not right, and you're so wrong.
Just post memes.
I'm left to doing that because I know no one cares. Phil, that Redskins keychain, man. Seriously, dude.
It's legit.
Yeah. Man, so...
You guys want to move on?
How about those Ravens?
Yeah, dude.
Do they need a backup quarterback or
I think
what?
they need a backup quarterback. What do you think, man? Joe Flacco's got his back hurt. What's going on, Phil?
Well, Jay Cutler's gone, man. They signed. Miami signed him.
Miami signed Jay Cutler?
Yes.
Oh, man. So what are the Ravens going to do, Phil?
I don't know. There's
What's
a
the
hubbub
talk of the
about some former 49er quarterback.
Was he the starter and then the backup and he did something? He didn't.
Oh my! That
what
fucker.
Happened? What did he do?
He sat on his ass.
Did he offend you?
No.
Did he offend anybody?
Not me.
What happened? This quarterback had
that
the audacity,
fucker exercised his First Amendment rights.
Right. To take a knee during the sacred singing of the national anthem and the unveiling of the sacred skycloth.
Skycloth demands promises.
That's not in his contract with the NFL to stand.
And no, he got millions of dollars, and he decided to say, "Hey, I'm just going to take a knee because."
Was he fighting dogs?
No,
Was he obstructing
he wasn't fighting
justice?
dogs. He didn't.
In a murder
nobody in
case?
his posse murdered anybody. He didn't rape any women. He didn't beat any women. He didn't punch any women.
He
didn't run a dog fighting ring. He's just made a. He just did not want to stand for the flaggetry, which is the unveiling.
So if Kaepernick,
Colin Kaepernick. So all the talk in Baltimore, because I mean I'm an Eagles fan, so I give no fucks about the Ravens. But I mean I live here in Baltimore, so I follow a little bit. But Flacco fucked up his back trying to lift weights. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like you show up the week before training camp. He probably like threw his back out lifting one of his
Bro, he's going to get huge, bro.
Dude,
he's bulking up.
Dude, he's probably hanging out with his wife and he threw his back out like pushing the stroller or something stupid.
Well, his unibrow got too heavy and he hurt his back.
Dude, this guy, Joe Flacco's checked the fuck out. He's like, dude, I won a Super Bowl, made my millions. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm really checked out. So, I'm not a Ravens fan. Kyle, you're a Ravens fan?
I am a Ravens fan.
So,
yes.
dude, they're kind of freaking out because they're like, dude, it's a back injury. Like, this could be weeks. This could be long term.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a backup quarterback.
Somebody that's good?
Somebody that's good. And then the talk is like, ooh,
Like,
maybe we'll sign Colin Kaepernick.
In the playoffs, good.
Right. So, but this guy refused to stand during
That
the national anthem that was written by Francis Scott Key while in prison
right here in Baltimore.
on a British ship while looking across and seeing Fort McHenry. And he wrote that song. And God, like, it's so fucking ridiculous. Like,
well, people care about, the country, they care about the history of the country, and they care about the military. And so they took his protest, which was against police brutality, as a slap in the face against America. They took him as un-American. And originally his protest, he was sitting on the bench, and somebody talked to him and encouraged him to take a knee instead, which at least shows a little bit of respect.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, all right, so do you know how much money he's given to charity and how much he's like? You know what I really like?
He walks the wall.
It's like he says shit. It's like I don't agree with everything he says, but
me neither. But
he
walks.
It's like all right, cool. Like he made a stance and he's saying whatever the fuck, and I support that. You know what I mean? And anybody that's against that,
so you'd sign him.
Fuck yeah, dude.
If he's the right fit. I mean, it's about the team.
Yes.
Sign the fuck out of him. He's so much better than
you. Yes, sign Kaepernick.
No.
What? Get the fuck out of it. Get the fuck out. Who brought you in here? No,
all right.
He's all right. You go ahead, dude.
Can we just?
I'm not a Ravens fan. I'm not a Ravens fan.
Me neither.
So can we just speak on this topic? Kyle, what do you think?
Well, I want to hear Phil. I want to hear Phil.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm making this about me again. But no. Can we just acknowledge the fact that he is not a good quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know enough about sport. I've heard people argue.
I know.
They argue.
Right.
I'm telling
you, he made his career with the read option. Right. That is gone from the NFL. Whatever. So they rely on him to be a drop back passer, and he is not a drop back passer. I don't know football well enough. He had good stats last year. Okay. Don't get me wrong.
It's Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly puts up his offense puts up ridiculous stats.
It was junk yardage in games that were out of touch,
hand, out of reach. I get it.
And so no, he's not that good of a quarterback.
I get that.
I understand. I'm fully aware of the fact that he's being blackballed because he kneeled during the national anthem, which is stupid, which is dumb.
But that's baggage.
But can we also acknowledge the fact that he's a big pro Castro guy? I mean,
don't get me wrong.
Did he grow up in the Bay Area of California?
Now he's better than a lot of guys. He's better than a lot of guys out there that have starting gigs. But this year we've seen the middle class of quarterbacks completely gone from the NFL. That's why Romo doesn't have a job. That's why until today, when there was a horrific injury, did Jay Cutler find a job? The middle class of quarterbacks are gone.
Sports ball on the Punk Rock Libertarians
I'm sorry, I'm a sports guy.
All over my head at this point.
I'm a sports guy, so this is kind of where I find my niche. But
I watched the Ravens games.
I feel like
what's on that night, man.
I feel like Kaepernick knew what he was doing. He knew that if he sat down for the protest, he'd have a large chunk of people saying, "Well, you only got rid of him for kneeling in the protest." In protest.
It could be.
I support his decision. You're dumb. Like, you're dumb. It's a flag. Get the fuck over it.
Yeah.
I know people didn't die for a flag. You're stupid if you died for a
dickheads,
flag.
All these assholes were like, if they sign him, I'll no longer be
Man,
motherfucker, you got season tickets.
My timeline
People
is
are calling for a
season tickets.
boycott of the NFL until they sign
Get
him.
the fuck out
They're
of here.
not boycotting shit. They're full of shit. They're tough talk by a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
The NFL
Flaggatry.
is so good. Yeah, right. So the NFL is so well off right now that people will watch regardless of what any bullshit happens. So that's why Joe Mixon is going to be a big
he
star this
straight
year.
up punched a bitch.
Yeah. It
Ratings
was
are down,
that
though.
girl, that
Ratings
like,
are down
They
significantly.
were down, and that was because of the election. That was because of bullshit.
Well,
I'm telling you, they'll go back. They'll
The
get back
polls
up.
said it was
Dude, I
over
was
his
so mad.
protest, and all of the players. There were other players besides him that were kneeling, and people
Of
were
course.
offended,
Yes,
and they said
yes.
that's why they stopped
Yes,
watching.
and that's why he's blackballed. It's not because he turned the argument in his favor. In my opinion, he turned the argument in his favor because he knew he wasn't that great of a quarterback. He had a fucking 4 interception game. He was like 15 of like 30 with 33 yards.
4 interceptions.
He's
1 for 5.
he's a great backup, but he didn't want backup money. Starting this free agency, he didn't want that.
Yeah,
He didn't want backup money. I'm sorry. He wanted to be a starter. And when he realized the extent of his protest, which might add, I don't fault him for. I don't care who sits and stands. Obviously, I think he's kind of using his position, and he does. He put his money where his mouth was when it comes to like donating to like causes that he believes in.
Dude, it was funny today. Like I went up to Philadelphia and I went to the Eagles open practice, and so I'm like, oh god damn it! Like I forget it's a fucking practice, but they're gonna do the national anthem, do all that. So I'm standing, I'm like, whatever, and there's literally like people around me, like, take your hat off, like all these motherfuckers,
Hate
take
those
your
guys.
goddamn hat off, motherfucker.
Hate those guys.
Like, just like, and I'm
So
like,
did you
dude,
take
I'm
it off?
there. I didn't wear a hat because like my buddy Matt and I, we specifically like took a spot.
Not me.
Not Matt Bergman.
Not me.
My other buddy.
Dude, I'm all like fuck sports, dude, and I just had to listen to it for like 20 minutes, dude.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Sorry, man.
Dude,
Sorry.
I'm all like fuck sports,
Well,
you
no,
know.
no,
but at the same time, I just
I'm
want to
not
say,
Fox Sports. It's just I don't know that detail.
You didn't vet me
Well,
properly.
yeah, okay. I'm just saying,
I went up to this practice and I'm like, dude, they start doing the national anthem. I'm like, I just stood there and I'm a veteran. I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna stand. I'm gonna watch this shit, dude. Like 4 fucking Black Hawk helicopters flew over the goddamn stadium. Not Veterans, but Lincoln Financial Field for
This is
a fucking training camp.
Training
open,
camp?
free fucking goddamn practice.
oh my god.
So then I guarantee it was probably like the Pennsylvania
my
National
God.
Guard training or some shit. But
No,
they did 4 loops. They went one direction and then they went the other direction. And then all these dickheads were like, yeah, America, dude. And there's like a guy, like you could see, like they're banking and they got the door open. It's like some like Apocalypse Now, like fucking dun 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 dun. And it's like, this is fucking Empire on display. So that's what I can respect the fuck out of Kaepernick, is the fact that he was like, yeah, there's just some straight up some fucking bullshit that I gotta be forced to fucking stand for this fucking pro-military bullshit.
Yes.
Because I just want to watch fucking football. I just want to go drink some beers, watch my team, watch them throw the football. I just want to watch fucking
Watch the
sports.
Eagles disappoint
I just
you.
want to watch the Eagles lose again and not win a fucking Super Bowl. That's all I want, okay? I don't
That's
want
all I
to be
want, too.
exposed to goddamn fucking flaggatry and fucking false patriotism.
I don't want the Eagles
and
to get a ring either.
militarism and fucking bullshit.
Alex, it came
And, like,
out.
Veterans, thank you for your service. Like all these motherfuckers. I'm a veteran.
Fighting
I don't give
for
a
our
fuck.
freedoms.
I didn't fight for any fucking freedoms. Like, I want to watch goddamn football. That's all I want to watch. Can I watch some football?
Soon, very soon.
Right? I just want to watch football and not be exposed to all this, which this whole Kaepernick story is kind of like, it's like this perfect storm of...
If you remember, Alex,
know?
it came out that the military was, had paid the NFL
Yeah.
quite a bit of money for
Kyle, our tax dollars
pregame
go
displays.
Wasn't it like
for
9 million or
those pro-
something?
Yeah.
I forget how much it was, but the Ravens had received quite a bit of money for
Yes, yes.
Dude, all the
I've read
teams
that.
receive it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
there's
marketing.
a department in the Pentagon that basically, all right, so there's an officer and there's civilians within the DOD, the Department of Defense, that basically some offices in the Pentagon, maybe the one side that was hit on 9/11, maybe not, I don't know, could have been a Tomahawk missile. I digress. But like, it was not a fucking plane.
The propaganda department.
They lost. Anyways, shit. What was lost in 9/11? The Pentagon lost billions of dollars. That's all. Hey, nobody talks about that shit. You know, some you know, they flew the plane so low, and it. But I digress.
This is a big
Makes
digression.
no goddamn sense.
Anyway, do you want to know if I would
But
sign?
the Pentagon. But there's a goddamn office in the Pentagon. There's an office in the Pentagon that basically our tax dollars go to. That basically our tax dollars fund certain movies. So if they're pro-military and pro-government, i.e., for example, think about Top Gun. Top Gun was funded by our tax dollars. Worst fucking movie ever. Would you agree?
I like Top
No,
Gun.
not worst ever, but it's up there.
I liked it. Danger Zone.
Kyle Wagner, you would like
You
it.
would like come out.
You would like Tom.
Good movie.
86?
Fucking Tom Cruise on
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah,
trail.
I was in
Yeah.
high school when that
on
came
the
out.
trails
I
out.
like it at the
I've
time.
never
but-
seen that
So
movie.
like,
Oh,
all
man,
right. So for
never.
example, like think of all the good war movies that are
There's a lot of good anti-war movies.
Right. So think of all of them. Name them. List them. Go down the
Platoon.
line.
Full Metal Jacket.
Platoon? Yes.
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Yes. Phil, what you
Saving
got?
Private Ryan.
Yes. What do you got, Matt?
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now? Yes. Yes. Okay, so what do all those movies have in common? They did not get government funding. But the movies that get government funding via our tax dollars were this one movie is with Nicolas Cage, Windtalkers.
So you're saying best anti-war movies?
Yes,
or-
the movies that have the most
Yeah.
anti-war messaging are not funded by
Forrest
taxpayer
Gump.
dollars. The
Yeah,
movies that are pro-war are funded by the Pentagon.
Have you?
Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, like this is like the best anti-war movie. Have you ever seen Master of the World with Vincent Price?
No.
With Vincent Price?
Yeah, dude.
What?
In a war movie?
No.
No.
Yeah, fucking Charles Bronson's in it.
Oh, gosh.
And, yeah, and
Is
so
this 1974 or something?
it's basically like 2,000 leagues under the sea, or 2,000 leagues in the sea, or is it
Under the
fucking
sea? 20,000?
20,000 leagues.
20,000.
Okay.
20,000
Life
Leagues
of the
Under the
Aquatic.
Sea.
Yeah, it's like whatever the fuck that movie's called.
Yeah.
But it's in the air.
10,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Okay, so Vincent Price makes this like hot air balloon, like this airship.
Okay.
You know,
When was this
it's-
filmed?
When was it filmed?
Yeah.
I believe it was in the mid to late 60s.
Dude, can anybody watching this live Wikipedia that
Or
to verify?
yeah,
So it was in the 60s. So it was like during the height of the...
maybe it was even in the 50s. I have to look it up.
But
I think it was
anyways,
60s.
What was the name of it?
It's Master of the World,
Master
Vincent
of the World.
Price.
You've talked about this before, and
Oh,
I've yet to check it out.
Dude, I fucking love this movie. So, you know, Vincent Price is basically, or he is, you know, an anarchist. And he's
1961, maybe.
61,
Jesus.
all right.
and he's basically like taking action against all these like militaries of the world in an attempt to stop war.
It's on fucking YouTube, too.
Oh, shit.
The whole thing is on YouTube.
I know, dude. I often fall asleep to this movie.
There's a...
Oh, well, that sells it.
No,
All right.
no, like
You know how much free education on YouTube? Like...
It's my most watched station.
No, I'm okay. Hear me out. Though Vincent Price is probably my favorite actor. I think he has a very soothing voice, and sometimes I like to listen to music when I go to bed normally, but sometimes I like to watch a movie. And when I do, I like for it to be a familiar movie that I've seen a whole bunch of times.
You can just
You
crash
know,
out and not
and
worry.
I can just listen to it, and it's Vincent Price's voice. It's like soothing me to sleep. I'm like that with like
I listen
the
to Alan,
would you say
I
it's-
listen to
would you say
Alan
it's
Watts at night
seductive?
to go to sleep.
yeah.
It's kind of creepy. You know.
Vincent
YouTube.
Price's
Yeah, a
voice,
little
you
bit.
enjoy the sound of.
No, well, I mean, there's just
Or Terrence
certain,
McKenna.
Well, there's certain movies that I've just seen a bunch of times, and that's one of them, basically. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor Strangelove is a good anti-war movie. That's a great movie. That more like speaks of the bureaucracy of like and the ridiculousness of militarism. But I digress. But
How bad was Tom Cruise acting in Born on the 4th of July?
I never
It was fucking
that,
terrible.
That might have been another one that was fun because I remember it was on Lou Rockwell.
Love it or leave it. Love it or leave it. Love it or leave it.
Yeah,
He must have said 100 times.
I forget who it was. They posted an article about that there's a department in the Pentagon that basically, if you go along. So, for example, Nicolas Cage was in this movie called Wind Talkers. And there was a scene.
Movie.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm getting at is any movie that is funded by the government is goddamn awful. So I don't like war movies because it hits too close to fucking home.
Was Atlas Shrugged any good?
I don't.
No.
No, but like.
It's a terrible movie.
Really? I've never seen it.
Well, they basically, this department in the Pentagon reviewed it, and there was a scene where basically, so the premise of the movie was basically the the code, the whole Pacific Code was
Navajo.
Fuck, who knows? Who cares?
Navajo. They were speaking Navajo.
Exactly. So that was the code, and the Japanese and the Germans could never crack it. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? It was terrible. It's terrible. But there was a scene in the movie.
Dude, you're fucking sloppy drunk, Schlegel.
No. But there's a scene. There's a scene in the movie where Nicolas Cage is apparently a lieutenant or one of his officers.
Yeah.
Pulls a gold tooth out of a dead Japanese soldier, basically with pliers, kind of fucking gruesome shit. Yeah. But it was well fucking documented. That happened. Motherfuckers were like, "Oh, he's got a ring. He's got war trophies."
The entirety of history of war. Yes,
exactly. We're basically rape, pillage,
plunder,
conquer, steal. It's theft. It's violation of the NAP.
Well, it was more ethnically diverse than Dunkirk, so that's what's important.
So what happened was they basically were remove that from the movie, remove that scene, because the Pentagon was like, no military officer would ever steal war trophies, even though it's fuck, I was in the military. Motherfuckers would be like, yo, I was in Afghanistan. I put AK-47s on a cargo plane, hid it under a pallet. Fucking, I got some AK war trophy. Get the fuck out of here.
Whoa.
Shit was real. That's real. Don't insult my intelligence by removing that from the movie and saying that would never happen. But, then we're going to give you tax dollars to support some shit fucking, military, pro-government propaganda bullshit.
Are you interested in selling that AK-47?
No, I never got one. But I mean, I've heard stories.
Hypothetically,
dude, shit was real.
Yeah, hypothetically.
From a friend. I heard stories.
Well, I'll tell you.
I don't know anything about. No, nothing. But yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
I'll tell you why I wouldn't sign Colin Kaepernick. It's because
bringing it back. Are you talking about Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Phil that his stats are low. He's not a good quarterback, but I think ultimately it's an entertainment business, and you have to think about what the fans want. Yeah. And if it's going to cost you a lot of season ticket holders or a lot of ticket sales because people are so angry at this guy, then that has to be a consideration as a business owner. So that's not really taking a principled philosophical stance on it. I was okay with his protest. He brought a lot of attention. Unfortunately, it went to the wrong place. It went to, he's anti-American instead of to the police brutality, which he was protesting. But I just think, as a business, it's not good for the Ravens to piss off half their fan base.
They should sign him. It'd be fucking entertaining.
Well, yeah, what I wanted to say before.
Tickets might get cheap.
What I wanted to say before Alex cut me off. Was I don't give two fucks about football, but at the same time, Colin Kaepernick is probably my favorite sports athlete. Period. Right now,
that's the one name you know.
No, yeah. As far as anybody that I know of, I mean, he did something that I liked. I don't agree with his views on economics. In economics, I think he's a little burnt out. Yeah. But I do like his his taking action against the police state.
He took a stand,
bringing awareness to it.
You respect that. That's understandable. And it did take courage. I mean, it takes courage to stand up against all these people who are going to hate your guts for it, and you're just going to take a knee and say, hey, I have my beliefs. So, I mean, I respect the courage that took personally.
It's true, but I have a coworker who I love her to death. She's great, but she keeps posting this status on Facebook. I'm going to keep posting this until the Ravens sign Colin Kaepernick, and it's hashtag sign Colin Kaepernick. Ravens sign Colin Kaepernick. And I'm like, why? I mean, this is just so different from politics. It's sports, and I'm a huge sports guy, and I can't stand it when it bleeds through, and I feel like he just used his position to kind of force his general manager and owner's hand to keeping him on the team last year. I mean, Christ, I mean, like, he's just
you
not
can't say
that
for
great.
sure if he's thinking it through
No,
this much.
no, this is my opinion, and
It's like police brutality is bullshit. I'm going to do something.
of course.
That might be as far as he goes. It's
But
more
yet
than
he
he's
sits there
thinking.
and praises Castro. Like,
Well-
do you not realize what their police did to their populace? Like, he's just.
I'm sure there's a lot of things he's uninformed on.
Of course. And I think he'd be a great backup for an emergency situation. And Christ, I mean, I don't
Can
care.
the Ravens get him for cheap?
That's and see, that's the thing. He wasn't willing to, according to the reports, he wasn't willing to do that at the beginning of free agency. He thought he was a starter, and he thought he maneuvered himself, in my opinion, to that position of like, well, I'm going to force a team to sign me for good PR to the people who were offended by what I was doing. But there's also, like, at the same time, I have a bunch of coworkers and friends who are like, sign Colin Kaepernick to the Ravens. At the same time, I have a bunch of people who are like, no, I won't listen to NFL. Or I won't watch the NFL anymore.
Dude,
He's,
they're so
he's
ridiculous.
garbage. He disrespected the flag that everyone died for whatever fucking
Dude,
reason.
nobody. Come on.
Yeah,
Dude,
I know.
I hate that argument, but yeah, exactly. It comes down to the fact, because I see all these events where people that I'm like, you don't even like football, and all of a
Yes.
sudden, like, and then but there's it's usually from the social justice crowd on my Facebook feed, and it's all this, and I'm like, yo, it's not about that. Like, he's not good.
Yes.
Like, he's.
Do you guys want to
like,
move on?
It's all economics. It's all economics. It's ridiculous, and it's like sad where it's like you get some of those stories that are kind of like just take up so much time. Where sports world, political world,
Yeah.
social world, and it's just like. But in the meantime, it's like, what should we really be paying attention to? Phil, what should we be paying attention to, man?
The circus and the gladiators.
Yes,
Yeah.
right,
How about the fact
Has
that the
anything
owners?
changed?
right. Pay attention. Bread and circuses, folks.
The chariot races at the circus and the
lion-
gladiators in the arena.
I think we've covered
Tigers.
Kaepernick pretty well. Do you guys want to talk about the Michelle Carter verdict?
Yeah.
You know, which
You guys are more well versed on that. I just sorry.
She's
I
a
was just-
horrible, horrible.
I'm getting a little burned out. We're
Sorry.
It's been going on for a
You
while.
Bring it
That
home,
me
man. Bring it
properly.
home.
All right. So Michelle Carter was the suicide text girl. She encouraged her boyfriend to kill himself by texting him over a period of like 2 months or several months anyway. Just do it, just do it, just do it, you know. And then when he was actually going through with it, he was in the car. He tried to get out. She said, get back in, stop being a pussy and all this stuff. So
Don't date crazy bitches.
she very obviously has some issues. And
Did
so
you see
she
those
got
eyebrows? Enough said.
yeah.
Enough said.
So all
Right?
all the talk has been about her eyebrows, which are very heavy. But it's really an interesting case because it's a free speech thing. People are saying, hey, she didn't pull the trigger or she didn't, physically do it. But in many cases, I take the position. It's like, well, I think Charles Manson didn't actually kill anybody, and he was, sentenced for his
So,
role.
Kyle,
in
He
those
was
deaths.
much more involved in planning and stuff, though, right?
Well, she was obviously involved, and this wasn't a murder; it was a suicide. So the guy
Yeah,
took his
but,
own life. So it's a little bit different situation.
Yeah,
But
it's a free speech issue to me.
What-
She's a horrible human being.
Horrible.
Horrible human
Yes.
being.
What state did this happen in?
I don't know.
I
Shit,
can't think.
Bring up
I
the
can't
article.
Probably Florida.
Someone have the internet. Florida. Seriously.
Everything happens in
Anything
Florida.
ridiculous in this country happened. Probably Florida.
Oh, I got to open a new
Florida.
tab. I cannot lose
uh,
Master of the World.
I thought-
1961.
Because didn't it happen? I saw a Vice documentary, and it was in Kentucky, where basically there was a high school kid who killed himself.
What's her name?
Michelle Carter.
And basically, the coroner, like basically in this county, they have some proceedings where the coroner can actually, like, who did the autopsy, could basically raise issues, and he did some protocol within this county, within the laws, Kyle, within the laws.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically was saying like that this individual was bullied, and that might have set the precedence where basically like, oh, this guy, this kid.
Massachusetts.
All right, so this was in Kentucky,
Massachusetts.
So I think the precedent, like, it's already being set, like online bullying
Yeah, that's a great.
Like that's a gray. I wouldn't say it's not a gray area. It's black and white to me. It's like
it transitions right in. You go, okay, well, if what she did was unacceptable, what about when somebody who's bullied in school kills themselves? Then can we hold the bullies criminally liable for the death of that person? It is a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
If you walk by somebody about to jump off a bridge and you say jump, is that a crime?
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
If you push them, it is.
Yeah, that violates you physically touch them.
But if you just tell them, if you just say
you're driving by on the Golden Gate and you see somebody, and you say jump, faggot, and they jump.
Let's say you get out and just start cajoling them. You just start telling them.
Is that a crime? Huh?
What if you get out of your car and you go next to them, like talk, but you're not talking them down. You're talking them off. You're like, you know what? You are a loser,
dude.
Like,
or what if you're like,
you should jump.
Or what if you're like, hey, you're about to kill yourself, dude. Look what you're wearing, and you're just like, look,
jump,
you're going out. Like, just, I get it, man. Okay, you're just going out.
If you encourage them to jump,
not encourage them, but just be like, look what you're wearing, dude. Like, come on, man. Like, here, I got this suit. I don't know.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
I don't know.
I was saying, like, it's the same thing, encouraging a person to kill themselves. As what she did,
but
telling somebody that's standing on a bridge and you're standing there.
It's tough to define legally to me.
What's free will? Like where it is, you know what I mean? Like it's such
a gray area, and that's why sometimes we have judges that the judges hear the case and they.
Dude, you're leaving it up to.
I know.
Arbitrary individuals where basically like where it's like, dude, are you serious? Like, I'm sorry. You killed yourself over some crazy fucking bitch with some goddamn like. I just saw her eyebrows.
She didn't have the eyebrows. You can't get over the eyebrows.
I feel bad.
But she was blowing them. So
we don't. Who knows?
Who the fuck? I mean, it could be. But I mean,
the judgment was clouded.
I don't want to be like callous, but sometimes these stories, I don't feel sorry. I'm like, yo, what? You killed yourself? Like her? Like. Dude,
so do you think
I would have talked to you? I would have had a beer with you. We would have I could have walked you off the ledge, man.
So what about with her? For criminal penalties? Do you think that do you think she committed a crime? Do you think she should have been punished by jail or got community service?
Doesn't matter.
Anything?
Her doesn't matter. Her life sucks right now. Her life is terrible right now.
She deserves it.
You could have put her. Yeah, but just the fact, that's what I'm getting at. In the court of public opinion. She's fucked.
Yeah.
She's done.
There's always porn, I guess, right? Not with those eyebrows.
Not with those eyebrows. Do you want to see those things? No.
Well, no. I hate to make it about me again. It's probably my first and last podcast. But but no, like I was bullied every single day in high school. Every day. I'd raise my hand and literally this guy behind me go, "Shut up, you fucking faggot. Stop. You're wrong. You don't know the answer. Shut up. You're stupid. You're dumb. Go kill yourself." Literally. Like, I mean, I don't mean this as a pejorative. So
when was that?
Or
how
whatever.
old are you, Phil?
I was like 13, 14.
But no, but how old are you now?
Oh, I will be 30 at the end of August.
All right. So you're so there's that age group where you're not, there was an article where between 78 and 84 where you're not technically Gen X, but you're not millennial.
No, I'm a millennial. I'm a millennial.
Well, what I'm getting at is just
fake bullshit.
But the millennial generation, I think, sometimes they can't cope with real world. Like, there's this thing called the real world.
Yes,
and it's
they say that about every generation, though.
Yeah, but I don't want to say that. Yeah. But I mean, what
do.
I'm getting at is this article that I posted a couple weeks ago came out. Between 78 and 84, it's basically that you grew up with technology, but it didn't determine you. Where millennials right now are so whatever in their social media is their fucking life. That's their real world.
Yes.
That is whatever the fuck is going on right here. That's reality. Yeah.
They call it the digital generation. I mean, there's little 2 and 3 year olds right now that just have an iPad glued to their hand all the time.
But Phil, what I'm getting at is you dealt with that shit.
I dealt with it so bad,
crying for safe spaces.
And it was such a dramatic change for me from going from middle school to high school. Where middle school I thought I was a cool kid. I didn't realize I was a fucking weirdo. But but either way, regardless, I didn't do anything to provoke these kids, and that they would still harass me me. And I guess I was a fat kid, whatever. But like I realized, like, and it would drive me nuts. It would drive me like absolutely crazy that they would say this stuff about me. I just internalized all the problems, and I realized that was my fault. I internalized it in a negative way, and I was bullied, and I became a victim. I let myself become a victim, and sometimes I wouldn't, even when I fought back, physically fought these kids. Like I physically got into fights, and I beat the shit out of them.
Did they violate your nap?
They've absolutely violated my nap.
Okay, so you were justified.
But no.
Law be damned, Kyle Wagner.
That being said, it's fucking words. If I had like for real, like if I had killed myself at the first time someone told me to go kill myself, and explicitly, and these kids went in detail, like just fucking with me.
Those
and
kids
I would have been
blowing
dead.
You though. This girl was blowing this guy.
Yeah, sure. I didn't get any blowjobs from these guys. Yeah. None.
Phil, was this a government school, by the way?
No, it was not a government school.
It was a private school.
I'm a private school kid. I'm sorry.
School?
Yes, I went to Catholic school.
I went to Catholic school pretty much my whole life too. Yeah, it's terrible.
I went to Mount St. Joseph, right down the street.
That backfired.
Yeah, it did, and I realized that was I've come to realize for a while I blamed it on everyone else, and I did that typical millennial bullshit, and I realized it's my fault. I internalized. I became a recluse person. It's my fault. It was my fault that I did this problems, and I don't have to listen to every bullshit. And I didn't have to kill myself, and I didn't. Yeah. And here I am, like magically enough. So I didn't kill myself.
So that story's kind of like.
Thank you. Like, I hate to make it about me again. Like I have been.
It was a relevant story.
So why do you think this will be your first and last time on the podcast?
Because I make it all about myself.
Nah, dude.
Well, that's how you relate to things.
Yeah, like, then that's why I'm here.
That was a relevant story. It was an interesting story. Like bullying.
Yeah, and like I said, eventually I got the fuck over it. Like I got over it. And you know what? I have a wife, I have kids, and I live a pretty much productive life, and I didn't have to kill myself. And I granted, that woman, Michelle Carter is an awful human being, a complete despicable human being.
Exactly.
But where do we draw the line? I know so many awful human beings that are just disgusting, terrible people that they've technically never committed a crime, but she's going to spend 2.5 years in jail or something over being a complete bitch. Like, you know how many people I'd encounter that'd be in jail right now who treated me like shit?
Right.
Like, I throw it out the fucking window and say, that kid had problems that his parents should have recognized. Yeah. The school should have recognized.
Yeah. But they testified against her.
Family is the end all be all with me, and they should have known. And if they should have stepped in and done something about a kid who was that suicidal over what that ugly cunt said to him.
Look at her eyebrows.
Right, the eyebrows.
The eyebrows.
Can't get her eyebrows.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think that I thought she deserved some sort of punishment. I thought it was really, really ridiculous what she did. Trying to get this guy to kill himself for months and months on end. I just felt like, okay, if she has to sit in jail for a little while and think about what she did.
She's going to be in jail the rest of her life.
No, 2.5 years.
She's got to carry that for the rest of her life. It doesn't matter about the jail sentence. Yeah. It's the stigmatism of being what was that a felony? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that a felony? Was she charged with a felony crime?
Well, this is an unusual case too because it made national news. So it's not like she can kind of hide from this. Like, everybody's going to remember this case.
And with those eyebrows,
her appearance would be easy to change.
Yeah, you can't forget her.
I wasn't upset that she got jail time. Personally, I just thought it was so horrible what she did. I don't know. Yeah. She's not. She may not. I was thinking 1 to 3 years. Some people thought she should be killed. Other people thought she should get nothing. Yeah. So you have the full gamut of people thinking this is what the punishment should be for this. Yeah. And when I saw 2.5 years, I wasn't like upset. I wasn't like, this is a travesty of justice.
Me neither.
But all right, it's fair.
I would say it's fair. I kind of was honest, like, I don't care. Like, it sucks that I feel like there's an element of it that's infringing on her free speech. Like, what did we do with Dr. Kevorkian? He was giving them clear instructions on how to do it. Yeah, she made it said, don't be a pussy, get back in the car. But where are we drawing this line?
It's hard to draw the line sometimes.
She was messing with a mentally unstable person, and she was a fucking horrible person. And so her serving time, I'm not completely against, but it's just like the way people are. It's almost the way people are taking this ruling, who's saying she should have gotten more. She should get the death penalty. She should get this, and I'm like, back the fuck up, man. Slow down. Her words are not filled with venom, and you may take it as that way, but that's your fault. That's your problem. That's your problem. Not the person who spits it. Because Christ, you have a Facebook fucking page, people against you, and you're a cool guy. I've only known you for a few hours, but I like you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But you have a whole Facebook page against you, and I mean, who cares what these people say? It's I don't know. I guess it's PMA. You positive mental attitude, and not a lot of people can register that, and it took me a long fucking time to get there. But I mean, I have so much to live for, and and it took me, and for a while, I didn't have much to live for. Like being in high school and being alone and being made fun of, and like.
But that's government. Well, that's Catholic. Well, that's
that's what I was.
I will say this, the all-boys school probably doesn't work for that.
It
so
did,
much.
but
it did.
But I met my wife in my last year of high school. I failed out of St. Joe because I'm a fucking just recluse. I just backed away. I didn't care about shit. So I went to public school, and it didn't stop there. Like people saw me with different band T-shirts. It was different from the shit that they were hearing. They got on me. And
dude, what band shirts? What were you rocking, man?
Like. Sick of It All and
dude,
Hate
you like
Breed
and
Third Eye Blind.
Dude.
No.
Third Eye Blind. Get the fuck out of here. No. But like back to the subject. Like it didn't stop there. I got.
I wish you step back from the ledge, my friend.
Shut the fuck up.
Awful. But no, like I got jumped by a bunch of kids in public school. I got jumped. I literally got jumped. I got jumped by about 10 kids. And you know what? That was I guess they violated my nap or whatever.
But
we gotta stop with that.
Yeah, I agree. I hate fucking sacred cows, and I feel like the libertarians, the nap is such the biggest sacred cows.
We sound like a cult when we say that.
I know, and I agree with the principle. But the way
Peterson's out of the cult.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with him on that.
Anyway, I just feel like it was I internalized it the wrong way, and I didn't go to my family for help as much as I should have. And I feel like some people are different places and they're not like me, and I know that. But I was able to get out of that shit, and I made a life of myself. So anyway, but yeah, I don't like the nap as it's I hate sacred cows. I've always grown up hating sacred cows. And that's what the nap is, I feel like, with a lot of libertarians. When you say anything that might question the nap in its sense, it drives me up the wall. It's like, just shut up. Like, just, how about you hear that, that's why I don't like, I hear a lot of people talk shit about you. And a lot of people, like, Austin Peterson, for example. And, there's just different things. I agree with Austin in a lot of senses, but I feel like he's just kind of like a walking bumper sticker. Like, he's such, like you said it best, opportunist.
Opportunist? Yeah.
So, and that's where me and him kind of, go separate ways. Yes.
Diverge, yeah. But Matt, what you got, man?
Well, I think that's probably about it for tonight, man.
Dude, any articles, postings, anything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we always have T-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. And if you type in the coupon code PRL or the coupon code PRL Podcast, you will receive a 10% discount. We're also always accepting article submissions at the dailyliberator.com.
Yeah, send them in.
Yeah, word.
You want to talk about some things we talked about tonight?
Get that discount.
Word.
I didn't do that.
Okay. So until next time, live free
or die. Yeah, man. Solid cast.
I had fun.
Discussions.
Yeah.
Is it still going?
No, it's off, dude. Settle down.
But this is like at the postcast. The postcast. You should
Postcast. Yeah, we should charge people for that.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Little postcast.
I'm so
keep recording.
I am so.
I had to cut the
Dude, take that shirt off, Kyle. What?
I know.
We were going back
I know. Yeah,
Which was my fault because I brought him back up again.
No, the page.
I got my point in, and then we got right back into him.
My fault.
We got to move on.
Dude, it's all good.
I had fun. This was great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry if I made that all about me
No,
a lot.
good.
First episode.
Well, man.
Like I said, I have not met with.
Therapy session.
I have not.
Like we uncovered
Right?
a lot of
Yeah.
demons.
Well, I'm not shy about that shit. I'm not shy. You don't know my demons, but you don't know. Like, I'm fine with that shit. Like, I'm kind of buzzed. So,
Dude, I mean, I think that story shows a lot. Like, just that whole I mean, it's a slippery fucking slope.
Like,
it's
it is.
And it's kind of like, dude, we all dealt with some shit. It's just like,
Oh, there's more upstairs too, dude.
That's enough. Just one.
like
know?
every time I'd raise
Are
my
you sure,
hand
dude?
in class,
Yeah.
every time, guy behind me, dude, fucking shut up. You don't know the answer. You're fucking gay. Fuck you. Kill yourself. Like, no, seriously, Phil, kill yourself. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to answer. Who was the fucking, president in, 1917? Like, what the fuck?
Dude,
Like,
that just reminded me of that movie. Like, remember that movie, like 3 O'clock High or something?
I've heard of it.
Dude,
I
it's
never
bad,
seen
man,
it.
because dude, we should
Did
still
you
record.
see that?
We should record it. We should keep recording it, man. Like,
Dude, I can't. We stopped it.
I know. I'm sorry, dude. I'm real sorry. Like I talk,
good,
and a lot of people hate my guts.
well,
for
no,
that.
we
I
were
just can't
no,
stop
it's all
talking.
good, dude. Dude, fuck it. Who cares?
No, you did. It went fine, man.
Oh,
You got me.
shit.
Yes. What do you got, dude?
Sorry, baby. We need a blowjob.
Is this a meme?
Oh, I'm sorry. I brought up sex laws.
You said that to me.
Dude.
Who did that? How did that come about that quick?
That was fast.
Dude, because every time we do the podcast, I share it on a bunch of places, and I always put it in like the Kyle Wagner group.
So what? I mean, there's an actual Facebook page that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Why?
There's multiple Facebook pages that hate on Kyle Wagner.
Like, I don't know. I've respected the hell out of him since the first time I heard him on the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, like you need
Why?
that.
So who's got time like that?
I don't know.
Dude,
Losers.
Well, it's because I'm coming from a supporting government, supporting rule of law, supporting police, and for anarchists, like they just
It triggers them. It triggers the shit out of
but it's
them.
like
And they don't want to admit that they're being triggered, but they are
there's
triggered.
such bigger fucking issues in the long run.
Right? I'm like, why do we have to fight?
Our foreign policy and the war on drugs, man. That's
where I stand. That's where I stand. I'm like,
get
literally,
the
like,
fucking big ones.
can we try minarchy before I sign on to anarchy?
Can we my
try
progressive
it?
progressive friends, they agree with me on those two things.
Yeah.
It's like
That's what I said when I said it's just a Facebook like. Like, these people will still like, yeah, that's true, like it, and go back to thinking their socialist views.
Well, dude, I look at it like this, right? Okay, say Total Freedom and Capistan's over here.
Yeah.
And say right now, say right now we're right here, right? And then say I want to go all the way to Ancapistan, but maybe you only want to go to right here. We don't really have to have like a discussion about those other things until we're right there.
yeah.
And right now it seems like we're far away from right there. So yeah, I agree that we all should work together. You know, Austin Peterson I think is a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, I get that. I like Austin, but I feel like he's a dickhead.
Like, I think Kyle Wagner just has Stockholm syndrome, and I'm trying to cure him by having him on the podcast.
Back. You gotta come back.
Bring me back?
You don't have to you don't have to resist all the time because the cops are in the right a lot of times. A lot of times somebody's acting like a jackass and they show up like, hey man.
I've seen videos where a guy just pulls out a gun and points at a cop, and like literally, like I have a cousin who's a Howard County police officer. And it's funny as shit. This is a weird connection. He was in an incident with my wife's cousin, who he's messed up in the head. And I sat next to him in a college class, and he wanted to die. Like he was so mentally disturbed. He wanted to die. So he literally pulled out a fake gun, but he pointed at the police officer and said, "Kill me. I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't kill me."
Suicide by cop. That's called.
My cousin, my mom's sister's son, shot and killed him. In Howard County, this was a few years ago, and like, I mean, if I was my cousin, I would have done the same thing. A guy's pointing a gun at me because he was saying he was gonna kill himself the whole time, and he was pointing at cops, and they weren't shooting him at that point, but it wasn't until the last moment when he just said, "I'm gonna kill you," and pointed the gun and shot him. Cop. And I am biased because I do have a lot of cops in my family.
Yeah.
But I can relate. I'm like, if someone pointed a gun at me and said, "I'm gonna kill you," I fucking kill him.
I think we have a lot of law enforcement officers, and what I would like to see is peace officers.
True. I understand that too.
And then, just like I pointed out before, with like the drug war, you've got like fucking over 3/4 of the people behind bars are in there for nonviolent crimes.
Yes.
So but cops are volunteering to do this job.
Yeah. And
I think we should talk about the moralities. Morality. I think government doesn't deserve a pass on morality.
No, and it shouldn't, because I was at a point a few years ago. You didn't do your vetting job good enough, because I was trying to be a cop in Baltimore City, and my uncle hurt. Like,
dude, when you say that, I just smoked weed, dude. I'm getting paranoid.
I know.
Taking pictures.
I know.
Like, are you a narc?
But I literally just said I would kill a police officer that tried to take my children away.
Yeah. So, but are you a narc?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. But like, I went out to be a police officer. This is before I got deep into my core values and my spot, and I wanted to be, but I was just too fat and I couldn't do enough sit-ups. But no,
like a cop?
Yeah, because I've tried for PG County. PG County, they were like, yeah, you need to drag a body this amount of certain ways. You need to climb up and down 3 flights of steps in 30 seconds. And I passed all that, but they just never called me back. Baltimore County, or I'm sorry, Baltimore City was like, you need to do like 50 sit-ups in 30 seconds or whatever. And I couldn't do it. So I failed on that multiple times. But like, anyway, this was before I got I just was trying to find a job. And this is before I got deep into my, like, where I feel like I am now. And I just, like, I don't know. I forget where I was going with this. Fucking kind of buzzed. So, no, but, like, I can sympathize with a lot of cop behavior. I mean, coming from my parents, like, my dad always, and a lot of my libertarian.
The camera went bad.
Did it go bad?
Yeah. Did we lose the recording?
Well, what we lost was the recording on here, I believe.
Oh, but it streamed.
It did stream?
Yeah, but it streamed, exactly.
Okay.
This is my first episode. I need to have this stream.
Yeah,
I'm like Austin. I need my spotlight.
My friend thought you did a good job.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she was listening.
Wow.
I like the new guy.
I tried,
I
man.
thought the personal stories were good. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna make it about me again. Just make it about you. Like,
Yeah, I know.
You
I just
like, of course, you're relating a personal experience to the story.
No,
it's
I try.
interesting. People like to hear that stuff, but you don't need to be like, don't apologize for it. Just go right into it. Like,
I know. I just feel like this
I got
isn't
this
my
relatable story.
like. I've heard him on here before. You guys, and I feel like I'm just like stepping on your toes, and I want to at least acknowledge the fact that I'm self-aware of the fact that I'm kind of making it about me. And
Well, no, because it's relatable. It's not like it's not like you're changing the topic. I mean, it's topical. It's personal story. It's relatable. It's perfect. That's what I think about it. I don't think we need to apologize.
well, I appreciate the any criticism. I'm welcome to.
I think we got a little in depth on the sports. Matt was about to fall asleep on us. We were talking about Colin Kaepernick.
I know.
Rushing averages from 2009 or whatever.
You lost me when you went on that shit.
I'm sorry, guy. I'm such a sports
I
fanatic.
can
Like,
tell because you got your passion came out for it. It was like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit! Like this guy's a big football fan.
Football, baseball, hockey,
Yeah.
I love sports.
Which is fine because you guys sitting around talking, but you get into that much depth.
I know. Yeah. I realized it kind of got in the weeds there, and I just kind of felt like I was in my element for a minute.
Like as a passing quarterback, like he's
Yeah, sorry. No, like I feel like he was he was like an Austin Peterson type. Like he knew what he was doing when he did it, and he was like, I'm just gonna do this and force their hand on not cutting me during the season. And he was like, I can force my way into a starting job next year because the repercussions that would face teams would face from having to sign me.
Dude, thanks a lot for coming. I'll talk to you soon.
So like any criticism, I'm welcome to because I thought that was great and I felt really good.
No, I think you did well, man. I think you did well. I mean, we'll probably have you back on if you want to come back on.
I will be here until you guys tell me no, if that's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a good conversation, dude.
Sorry.
It's okay. That mic is like, it's not the right windscreen for that mic, but it matches with the other ones. So
you just want me to leave the beer here? I think I only have like 1 or left.
oh, whatever you want to do. You leave it here, I'll drink it.
Yeah, I don't need to bring this home. This is like I've been trying to cut back on like my weight and stuff like that. And this is the first time I've drank this much beer in so long.
I do have recycling upstairs.
Oh, you have recycling? Dude, I haven't. That's a scam. I don't believe in it.
Yeah. Isn't it like much more expensive than it helps, basically?
Yeah, and like the way they bleach like paper, like it's ridiculous. Like they bleach it and it causes so much more environmentally just like not safe. So I just realized I've seen that Penn and Teller bit and I've read a bunch of stuff about it and I'm just like, shit, they were right. Like it is way more expensive just to because tree farms like they do a really good job in tree farms and like the way they paper mill and stuff. I'm a little buzzed, so. But yeah, I'll just leave this. Anyone in the bathroom? Mind if I just